WIBC HD2 W298BB, WIBC HD3 W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it!
On 93.5
Watch it!
and 107.5.
Boom, baby!
The Fan.
Pretty cool night last night, Kevin. And Mark was there as well.
That was fun. I enjoyed it. A night in the fan cave over at the Indiana Historical Society, which is a really cool venue.
Very cool.
I loved where we had the little reception meet and greet. That was a fun little room to be in. And Jake, you and I have talked about this so often. We just don't get a lot of opportunities to be out in public and meet and greet and put faces with names. So thank you to everybody who came out. Thank you to everybody behind the scenes as well. I kind of forgot to mention those folks when we were up on stage last night. So our digital team, our engineering team, our sales team, everybody that played a huge role in last night happening. And I think it's an event I would love to do again as well. I felt like you did a nice job keeping the British accent to a minimum, so I appreciate that.
That's right. Were there really British people that told you they liked it?
Well, that's for your mind to wonder and just think, were there any British people in the building?
I don't think they said they would like it. Didn't they say they didn't like it?
They were adamant that please refrain from this. Again, if this show wants to grow internationally across waters, which is a goal of ours, the British accent needs to be tamed.
I think at this point we're happy if we grow past 465, right?
Past White River.
That's right.
Past the canal.
By the way, thank you to Forum Credit Union, Larceny Bourbon, as well as Connecticut Water, among others, for making that possible for us last night to get out and meet everybody. Thank you to everybody that came out. I had a wonderful time. I got there at about 5:30, and from 5:30 to 7:30, just being down there and meeting everybody and chatting for a couple minutes with literally every man and woman that came through and getting pictures taken. Everybody was, man, I'll tell you, everybody was super friendly, super cool, enthusiastic. I met several people, Kevin, that you grew up with or knew, or they came up to me, hey, I know Kevin really well. A lot of people said to me, like, we've never met because, I'm the new kid on the block, right? It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So thank you again. Forum Credit Union, Larceny Bourbon, for making that possible. Connecticut Water as well, that were on board. So a lot of fun last night. The one thing about it, the only drawback, apparently we missed a great hockey game last night, right?
Overtime, correct?
Yep.
The Avs go up 3-1 now.
It's over.
Home ice now as well. Game 5 will be in Colorado.
What do you think? I have no idea.
Friday.
I mean, admittedly, I am a hockey, outsider. What would we guess that tickets in Colorado for a Game 5? What are they going for? Right now?
$288.
Okay. Do you have a guess, Mark?
$322.
Just to get in the building.
Tickets? Okay.
I'm going secondary market just to get in the building to see
I've sat
a team
top row.
win the Stanley Cup.
I've sat top row in that building.
110.
Oh, Mark.
Come on, man.
I am?
Gosh.
They're
playing in
room only?
Colorado, not Billings, Montana.
110.
All right, hang on. I'll let you know in just a second here once my service.
Downtown
picks
Indy,
up.
volleyball players flocking to the convention center this morning. I had never seen so many, 10, 11-year-old girls in packs heading to the convention center. It looks like it's a big volleyball tournament weekend in Indy. And tonight, Jake, the NBA draft. Our coverage will begin at 7 o'clock. I don't think it's hyperbole to say this. I would say tonight is I'd say it's the most excited Pacers fans have been since Game 7 against the Cavs.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I mean, it certainly is
4 or 5 years
intrigued
ago.
For sure, right?
I was way off on these tickets, by the way.
I'm looking right now.
Mark, I could have told. I feel like the bourbon might still be in Mark's system.
I'm dragging ass this morning. I'm not going to lie. But
Mark
yeah,
with $110. $13.70 to get in the door.
Yes.
Woo, man, I was way off too.
$13.70 to get in the door.
It's not a huge arena.
No, it's the size of Gamebridge, basically, right?
Is it even that big? I don't know.
Ball Arena, named for the Ball Company in Muncie, Indiana.
Oh, I thought the Lonzo Ball family.
That too, yep. The $1,370 gets you 2 tickets or 1 pair of slides from LeVar Ball. By the way, my name is Jake Query, Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton, the other 2 voices you just heard. It is Kevin and Query here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Good morning to you on a Thursday. Great-looking day outside. Just a great time of year to be able to get up, listen to some sports, obviously get some work done today, but maybe lounge by the pool because it's a great day for it. But NBA draft tonight. And now there's talk, Kevin, I don't know if you've heard this. These things always happen because there's always smoke screens, right? The latest rumor du jour, did you hear who now supposedly is skulking around and has become an equal player odds to be the number 1 overall pick?
Is Mr. Banchero moving up?
Whatever. Yep.
Is it even odds? Has it gotten there?
I think it's close to that.
Man.
Supposedly, he is now the odds. He is tied for the odds-on favorite with Jabari Smith to go number 1 overall. I do think that Banchero just seems to be the most mature and ready-to-play player.
Yeah, I mean, Jake, just when the name pops into my head, I'm almost afraid to say it out loud. But at times when I watched him at Duke, I thought, I have not seen a freshman this polished as a scorer since Carmelo Anthony.
Can Martin Brundle do the post-draft interview?
Can we?
Lisa Salters, please exit stage left. We're going to have Mr. Brundle come on the stage for this one with Banchero. Yeah, I don't know. I still think Jabari Smith goes 1, but when Vegas starts to know something, clearly Banchero could be in the mix there. The Pacers, number 6, number 31, and number 58 tonight. So 31, the first pick in the second round, 58, the last pick in the second round. A couple of forfeited picks in there. Jake, no matter how you slice it, quality of picks, number 6 overall. Quantity of picks, 2 of them in the first 35 selections. This is the most and the best draft capital the Pacers have had in decades. And to steal a word from Kevin Pritchard, the optionality that they can execute tonight is rather endless. Whether that is package something and try to move up for an Ivey or a Banchero, whether it's move a Brogdon to get into the late lottery. We can get more into this Gordon Hayward rumor. I actually am kind of intrigued by it. I know you'd be absorbing a lot of salary with Hayward, but if you could get a couple of picks and Charlotte is picking right there at 13 and 15, that just gives you a few more swings at it. And I think that is something that is enticing as well. But as I've said all week long, when we do the show tomorrow morning, if Ben Mathurin is wearing a Pacers uniform and Malcolm Brogdon is not, I will be a very happy human.
Boy, you are really on the get rid of Malcolm Brogdon train.
I am. Jake, if you look at how Tyrese Halliburton played last season here in Indiana, with and without Brogdon, the numbers are rather staggering. And it's to be expected. Okay, Brogdon's off the floor. Well, of course he's going to average more points, Halliburton. Of course he's going to have more assists. He's just going to have the ball more. But, his shooting efficiency was at a much higher rate when Brogdon was off the floor and not healthy and not out there, which is a bit surprising. You would think, Brogdon can handle the ball and he can facilitate and, Halliburton, I don't know, maybe is spotting up and things like that. But I see Brogdon, out of Brogdon, Turner, and Buddy Hield, Brogdon to me, those guys are in their own little puzzle piece group. Brogdon's just a puzzle piece that doesn't really fit.
That's fair. That's definitely fair.
And obviously the other puzzle pieces are Isaiah Jackson and Duarte and all of that. I have, again, said all week long, Jake, Mathurin and move Brogdon. What would be your goals for tonight?
Simply get younger, honestly. And I know that's obviously the case when you're going into the draft, right? But if you can get to accumulate as many pieces that are, going to be at their prime together as possible. So if you can accumulate picks, and that means that you are, I don't believe that there's anybody on the roster. Duarte and Jackson would be the only 2, but they're young. So in terms of guys that have been in the league for more than just last year, I don't think there's anybody on the roster that is unmovable or that is off limits to me.
Yeah, I would agree. Halliburton would be probably the only one I would slot into that. But yeah, no one else on that front. It sounds like we're going to have 3 guys from the state of Indiana going round 1. It seems like Jake LaRavia's name keeps on sneaking into round 1. We'll see if that comes to fruition tonight. So we will hit on that. Scott Agness is live in New York right now, so we will talk to him a little bit later in the show. And then, Mark, we're hoping, any word yet on if we could maybe get the pick on the show tomorrow?
Lines are out. We will see if any lines get returned.
That's all we ask.
I would like to, by the way, mention also, having nothing to do with the NBA draft tonight, but somebody came up to me last night during the event and was saying, man, I enjoy when you talk about things of our generation, so to speak. And I said, yeah, sometimes I got to remind myself that I'm talking about stuff that's 30 years old and a little passé and dated. So I apologize to you guys for that.
Smokey and the Bandit references might fall on deaf ears occasionally.
Yeah, I've actually never seen that, but yes, point taken. When I was of the age to go to bars and watch games in bars and that kind of thing, when that was, and if you guys recall, I mean, when you first turned 21, 22, 23 years old, it was such a fun thing with my buddies to all get together and, hey, the Pacers are playing, and we were very fortunate that coincided with the Pacers' rise into prominence. The Pacers-Knicks series, all those were when I was of that age, in my early 20s. That time period also was around the time when fantasy football first started kind of hitting the scene, and TNT did Thursday Night Football. And so going out to watch games and being a part of, in that capacity, like the NFL and the NBA, was really a cool thing for my buddies and I. And during that time, in the mid to late 90s, that was kind of the advent of come out to BW3 and meet this player, or come do trivia night with Colts player so-and-so. Yeah, and you see that more now than you did back then. And one of the first players that I can recall, probably the Colts moved here in 84, and by the mid-90s, they had players that people here really liked. Eric Dickerson was obviously an elite-level player. Dwayne Bickett was a popular player. Chris Hinton was a popular player, but we didn't see them. They weren't out and about. They weren't part of the community that, in that capacity. Tony Siragusa was that guy. He was the first player that I can recall as an Indianapolis Colt that when you went to games, and the Colts were still, Kevin, like this new thing.
Yeah, trying to get established footing.
Yeah, I mean, even 10 years in, it was like, I like the Colts because they're here, but I'm really a Bears fan. I'm really a Bengals fan, etc. And that Jim Harbaugh team and that group, when it all came together, is really what captivated this city and hooked everyone. But Tony Siragusa, the things that people loved about him, aside from the fact that he was a colorful character and he did the goose dance and that kind of thing, was that he resonated with the city. He was an undrafted guy. He was a blue-collar guy who liked to have fun and hang with his buddies. And he was the first player, Kevin, not unlike a Pat McAfee, not unlike a probably Rodrigo Blankenship for that matter. He was a guy that when he was out there, people saw themselves on, they're like, that's just like one of my guys. He reminds me of Tank that I played with at Creston Middle School, that kind of thing. And you could go places and see and meet him and talk to him. And you could go on Thursday night when he was at the BW3 in Broad Ripple doing trivia night and giving out Colts sweatshirts for knowing the right answers. And this was all so novel to people here. And so he was, I think, from the Colts standpoint, the first player to really connect away from the field beyond just football. Tony Siragusa passed away yesterday at the age of 55. The cause of death has not been determined. You can speculate because of his size, and his father did die of a heart attack before the age of 50.
Yeah, very young.
So I don't know the cause of death, except for to say that I didn't know Tony Siragusa, but to live in this town during the time in which he was playing was to feel like you knew Tony Siragusa. So certainly thoughts and condolences on the passing of Tony Siragusa.
Jake, I was 6, 7 years old when they made that run in 95. And if you were to ask me, who do you remember? What do you remember about that era? Because that was really my first kind of vivid sports memories, is that run to the AFC title game. I would probably, after Harbaugh, Jake, I'd probably say Siragusa as the player that I remember the most, which, is kind of a bit crazy if you were going to go off accolades of guys on that team. Siragusa wouldn't be second necessarily on the list. I feel like if you were to make like a 1995 Colts montage video and you played at Lucas Oil at a game next year, the guy that probably gets the most cheers is probably Siragusa.
Yeah. When
you throw his face up there. Last night we did a little analogy, and I threw up kind of fan favorites of, Tony Kanaan in IndyCar and Lance Stevenson for the Pacers. You'd probably throw Siragusa
totally
into that group.
Of that era for certain, right?
Yeah, and like you said, Jake, everything just checked the box for his persona and his character of the name, the undrafted aspect to him. He went to Pittsburgh. Super blue-collar town when you think of that. The fact that this team was trying so hard to get, a winning culture established. And I was so happy that he did get that ring in Baltimore. And I don't know about you, but his post-playing career, I used to love him on Fox. I used to think it was hilarious when they would pan down to the sidelines, and there's Siragusa in Lambeau, wearing like a fur coat, and there he is right up against the goalpost.
I forgot that he did the TV deal.
For a long time.
They put him in a really bad situation. Do you remember the one time that he was the one, I think, they had a promotion where they were giving away a car, and he was the one, the poor guy was, it was no fault of his, but they did a thing during the game that was like, we're going to pick one fan and give away a car, and they made a huge deal out of it. Do you remember this? And
vaguely.
And they did this big build-up over the course of the game. Who's going to be the one to win the car? And then finally, the winner was this woman that, unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, it was, and I'm going off memory, this was 25 years ago or whatever, but the woman that won the car was, really did need a car. It was like a single mom who was a waitress that was taking the bus to work every day type thing. And so she's ecstatic that she won a car, and they bring Tony Siragusa out, and it was a Matchbox car.
Oh.
Do you remember that? And he's like, see, you won a car, and it was supposed to be like a gag. And it was like, yeah.
Boy, that didn't land very well.
Like, not everybody was in on the joke here, and it did not go over well, yeah. And he caught a lot of heat for that, and I'm like, well, he was just acting out the script, right?
Jim Irsay on Twitter yesterday, Jake, the Goose squeezed 200 fun-loving years into 55. He was one of the most physically strongest players I've ever seen in 50 years. In Greece, they would ask one question at the end of one's life: did he have passion? In Tony's case, yes, he did. Kaylin Irsay, the youngest Irsay daughter, shared that Tony Siragusa was her favorite player growing up. Goose came to her first grade classroom. Can you imagine Tony Siragusa walking into a first grade classroom? All right, all 30 of us, let's jump on Goose.
Are doing just the flap?
Right. Oh, yeah, the flap, the iconic
the
flap.
The Goose flap was awesome.
Man, one of those weeks, Jake. Caleb Swanigan, obviously, at the age of 25. And now Tony Siragusa.
And here's the thing, and I've seen a lot of this. Caleb Swanigan and the kid for the Ravens, I realize.
Yeah, Jalen Ferguson. We didn't
but listen, I have my suspicion on Jalen Ferguson. I don't know, but I get it. And I'm not trying to enter that arena at all. And I almost wonder if some of it's not the robotic spamming. But when these announcements are coming out, like with Caleb Swanigan and then with Tony Siragusa, the number of people that all immediately pinpoint to one potential thing. And I'm like, listen, I love Tony Siragusa, but, is it possible that Tony Siragusa died from complications of an optional medical procedure? Yeah, sure. I guess. But, he had genetics. Listen, I had a heart attack, right? Because I was genetically, that's the way it was linked for me. That's kind of how biology works. Not everything needs to be immediately turned and scrutinized into the common denominator. I'll just put it that way. I'm dancing around it because I don't want to go there, but it gets a little exhausting.
Scott Agness at 8:30, Gregg Doyel at 9. Tonight, the NBA draft. Again, our coverage at 7 o'clock. In my opinion, the most exciting, intriguing, whatever you want to call it, night the Pacers have had in quite some time. We'll break it all down. What would be the best case scenario? What would be the worst case scenario? And again, I want to get a little bit more into this Gordon Hayward rumor. Charlotte has always been a team that has had interest. I think in a guy like Myles Turner, they're sitting there with 13 and 15 overall. Could and will the Pacers add some back end of the lottery picks? We'll do that a little bit later. By the way, we had a couple of shout out to Matthew and shout out to Charlie, a couple of packages that have been sent our way this week. We can dive into those a little bit later in the show. Very gracious from both of those. I think you guys will enjoy what you find in there. It is a very nice Thursday morning here in the city of Indianapolis. Kevin and Query at 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Who's it gonna be?
Purdue's Jaden Ivey.
You would think Jaden Ivey wants Indy.
1980s basketball, then don't draft Jaden Ivey.
Keegan Murray mentioned that he has met with Indiana.
Keegan Murray, to me, feels like a brand new, loaded, with all the options, Honda Accord.
Jabari Smith.
Mathurin feels like he could be a Jaguar.
Chet Holmgren. Paolo Banchero.
Who's next to wear the blue and gold? Find out tonight on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Do breakfast better. Wake up to oven-baked bacon and savory sausage in a breakfast Baconator. Start looking forward to tomorrow morning at participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours only.
CarX Tire and Auto, 14 Central Indiana locations, and the road-ready summer travel package for just $99.99, including a coolant exchange, tire rotation, battery inspection, and more. CarX.com today.
Hubler has all the top brands: Chevy, Buick, GMC, Ford, Acura, Honda, Mazda, Nissan, and more. And every new vehicle includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Looking to sell your vehicle? We'll pay you top dollar, even if you don't buy ours. Take it from Brooke Hubler.
You can get a car anywhere, but you can only get a warranty like this at Hubler. 10 years, 200,000 miles.
Visit drivehubler.com. Warranty available on new vehicles except certain models, non-transferable or available on leases. Copy of the warranty is available for review at the dealership.
Hey, it's JMV. Sometimes accidents happen. Truck wrecks, car wrecks, motorcycle wrecks that just shouldn't have happened. It can mean dealing with a lot of pain, broken bones, surgeries, PT, extended medical care, even death. All of which can also add up to catastrophic harm. That's where personal injury attorney John McLaughlin at Parr Ritchie can help. John is recognized in Indiana Super Lawyer magazine as an injury attorney. It's worth a free call to see if John can help you. 317-269-2509 or visit ParRinjury.com. That's PARR injury.com.
Circle K is America's thirst stop. And yours, especially when the weather gets... and you need to stay refreshed on the go with ice-cold Circle K favorites like freshly ground iced coffee, Froster, Polar Pop Cup, and more. Think of it as the ultimate thirst-quenching, totally rehydrating summer splash zone. When life's go, 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 make us your first stop. Because Circle K is America's thirst stop.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Relieving your joint pain at QCkinetics.com. On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Jake, your Lightning on the brink of elimination. Is it your Lightning or your Avalanche?
Avs. No,
it's his
I'm
Avalanche.
an Avs fan.
He's been bandwagon jumping this whole time.
Yeah, my buddy Jacqueline goes to Avalanche games. I'm all in on the Avs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a buddy everywhere for Jake. 3-1.
Disgusting.
The Avalanche lead. A overtime goal last night on the road, so now they can close it out tomorrow night back in Denver. Our coverage will begin at 7:30.
Major League Baseball yesterday, Dodgers over the Reds 8-4. Freddie Freeman a go-ahead solo homer in the seventh. Dodgers never look back. Cubs over the Pirates 14-5. It was St. Louis over Milwaukee in the Battle of Beer Towns. Easy for me to say 5-4. Elsewhere, checking scores. Cleveland over Minnesota 11-10 in a pitcher's duel. Yankees 5-4 over the Rays. The Yankees are really good.
How about Shohei Ohtani last night? We talked about it yesterday, guys. Who would you pay to watch play baseball right now? 8 RBIs on Tuesday night. Last night, he's on the mound and has 13 strikeouts.
Yeah, unbelievable, right?
Will we ever have this is probably for a bigger topic. We will never have an American version of Ohtani because no coach will ever allow that player to pitch and bat for as long as.
Well, I've always said, Kevin, most pitchers in Major League Baseball, probably for the first 70% of their baseball playing career, were the best hitter on their team.
Yeah. You
right?
started at shortstop and batting in the 3-hole, 4-hole. Yeah. Ohtani, unbelievable.
Indianapolis Indians, by the way, 2-0 over the Memphis Redbirds.
Oklahoma is in the College World Series final. They will await the winner of Ole Miss Arkansas. That is an elimination game today, so that will be the College World Series final. That'll get underway on Saturday.
Does Oklahoma have a loss yet?
No, they are they have not trailed, Jake, in the College World Series.
So they're the favorite at this point.
I would say they would classify as that. Tonight is the NBA draft. We're going to hear Jaden Ivey clips, Ben Mathurin, Keegan Murray. Those seem to be kind of the big three, if you will, in that 4, 5, 6 range for the Pacers. Jaden Ivey, this was him earlier in the week on his Zoom interaction with the Pacers.
So I just recently had a Zoom call with them. I did not work out for them. The Zoom call went well. Just seeing, what happens in the draft. It's only 3 days left before the draft, so, kind of just trying to soak everything in right now. And, basically we'll just see what happens on draft night.
Face-to-face interaction with Jaden Ivey at the Combine. Again, he only worked out for Orlando, number 1 overall, and Detroit, number 5 overall. We've talked about it all week long, Jake. Chet Holmgren, Jaden Ivey, Shaedon Sharpe. I think those are the 3 in the top 10 that have the most volatility in terms of where they could go. I don't think we expect Ivy to fall past 4, but what does Oklahoma City do at 2? I think that is probably a big debate. And does someone trade up for Ivy because he is such a unique talent?
The thing that is interesting to me, I guess we'll get more into this in a minute, but there is a player, I will say this, there is a player that there have been new reports that has been outspoken about where he wouldn't go. And to me, that throws a curveball into a ton of the top 5 or 6 and could blow things up, including for Indiana.
Number 6, number 31, number 58. Those are the selections the Pacers have.
For now.
Right now, 12 and a half hours away from the NBA draft. Could Gordon Hayward be on the move? Let's chat about that. Best case, worst case scenario for the Pacers. And hear your thoughts. What do you guys want to see from the Pacers tonight? It's at KBO and 1070 on Twitter, at Jake Query on Twitter, 317-239-1070. NBA draft night is here.
Nobody knows the NBA draft better than Jimmy. Join him today. He is filling in for me. Also, nobody knows more about the Yankees. I'm guessing you hear about both today, noon to 3.
Hey, it's JMV for Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. Are you currently sleeping on the couch, fellas, right? Has she threatened to send you there because, that snoring thing every single night? It's time to visit the Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. Aurora treats snoring and sleep apnea with custom-made mouthpieces that will keep you off the couch and keep her off your back. StopYourSnoreNow.com for a private consultation today. Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic.
I'm Tom Shane. Growing up in a family of jewelers, I remember looking at gemstones alongside my father. I learned to appreciate their unique beauty and developed an eye for evaluating diamonds, rubies, and sapphires. To this day, I'm still examining gemstones. Throughout the year, I traveled to Bangkok, the gemstone capital of the world, to hand-select only the most beautiful rubies and 16 colors of sapphires for Shane Company. When I'm there, I never select stones on a cloudy day. Only with natural sunlight can I accurately evaluate the color and the stone's brilliance. I also oversee the cutting of each stone to maximize its inherent beauty. That's why our gemstones are more beautiful and vibrant than any other jewelers in town. Come in to find one that's perfect for you. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Ready to drink cocktails are the hottest thing on the market, and Payless Liquors is your source for premium RTDs at low prices. All Payless stores have Chi-Chi's Margarita cocktails for only 99 cents. On the Rocks are $2.99. Hugh Blind drinks in the 200 milliliter size are $4.99. Bowls 200s are $5.99, and Mom Waters only $8.99. Plus Bud Light and Coors Light 12-ounce 18 packs are $14.99 at all 26 family-owned Payless Liquor locations, proving when Charlie says sell it, you don't pay more, you get more at Payless Liquors.
Jake Query here. This weekend, the Marion County Fair starts up, and so does Circle City Raceway's fair racing schedule, with racing action on Friday and Saturday. And this Sunday night, monster trucks and a demo derby brings the first weekend of the fair to a close. And next Friday, the 1st, it's the school bus figure eights and school bus rides for the kids. Circle City Raceway is family-friendly action, great food, free parking, and outrageous fun. Check out the whole Circle City Raceway Fair races at circlecityraceway.com.
My name is Kayla Cinders, and I work for Gleaners Food Bank. I am a local service manager for 3 counties in our 21-county service area, and I nominated Katie.
And I'm Jiffy Lube owner Steve Sanner. At Jiffy Lube, we are proud to support Hoosier charities that use their vehicles to do more to make Indiana a better place to live.
My name is Katie Wilkerson. I pick up at the mobile food pantries. The best part of volunteering to hand someone some food and see the smile on their face, the relief. Without my vehicle, there's no way I'd be able to do this. To go to any of the pantries, it's at least 18 miles.
Jiffy Lube of Indiana provides all of our Do More winners with free vehicle maintenance for a year. Because now at Jiffy Lube, our trained technicians do more to keep vehicles like theirs and yours on the road. Brakes, tires, batteries, and more, as well as Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
If you know a volunteer who impacts your community, nominate them today to receive a year's worth of free vehicle maintenance. Just click the Do More tab at jiffylubeindiana.com.
Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens. The 4th of July sale at Sundown Gardens runs from June 25th through July 3rd. Container shrubs and perennials are 20% off, and get this, all items in Miss Mary's gift shop are 30% off. The 4th of July sale at Sundown Gardens, June 25th through July 3rd. Sundown Gardens will be closed on July 4th to celebrate Independence Day. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, sundown.gardens.com. That's sundown.gardens.com.
In the construction business and tired of dealing with the indifference of big corporate suppliers, Quality Supply and Tool on South Harding Street understands. For over 25 years, owner Kevin Ane has had a different approach.
We at Quality Supply and Tool take pride in being a locally owned family business, committed to service. And every customer's needs are different, and we truly believe in shaping our business to our customers' needs. That's what separates us from the competition.
That's Quality Supply and Tool, with additional locations in Bloomington and Jeffersonville to serve Hoosiers better. Partner with Quality Supply and Tool and think outside the box. Store.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
So the latest buzz, the latest rumor, the latest word, the latest gossip with the NBA draft is that Paolo Banchero could actually be sliding up, and that Orlando could be taking a long, hard look at him at number 1. Now, what's interesting here is this. If Banchero goes number 1 to Orlando, I believe I had read that Jabari Smith had said that he would not want to play for Oklahoma City. Now, if that's the case, if Banchero goes number 1 to Orlando and Oak City is sitting second, and Jabari Smith doesn't want to go there, does Oak City then go with Chet Holmgren, and as a result, Jabari Smith slides down to 3 to Houston, and then do things maintain status quo, or does Houston, or for that matter, even Oklahoma City, go with Jaden Ivey at 2, which blows up everybody's prognostications, right?
Well, it is crazy how Banchero has slid to becoming the favorite. I mean, I think
moved up, you mean?
Yeah, sorry. Moved up to be the favorite. I think we all agree that Banchero, again, is extremely talented, skilled scorer, and probably the best player. Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, Jaden Ivey, maybe a little bit more enticing traits that you can develop. But I still think, Jake, we hear those 3 names go 1, 2, 3. I mean, we'll see if Jaden Ivey can crack that. But in some order, it does seem like we are going to get, maybe now it's Banchero 1. If you look in Vegas, it would be him 1. It'd be Chet Holmgren 2. And then 3 is where you have a little bit more of indecision. But if that was the case, I mean, look at Houston. They took Jalen Green, a guard, a wing last year. You would think Jabari Smith would fit quite well, especially after they traded Christian Wood earlier in the week. Jake, did you see this Gordon Hayward thing?
Yeah, I want to get into this because this makes a lot of sense to me, but go ahead and...
So basically what Charlotte would be doing here is a little bit of a salary dump. So honestly, in a way, and there are differences, but in a way, I think it's similar to how the Lakers are trying to view the Russell Westbrook situation. And Charlotte would trade Hayward, who I believe, and Mark, could you look up his contract situation? I think it's around $30 million for this coming season. But you would pair the 13th pick and the 15th pick with Gordon Hayward. And that would be the reward for the receiving team taking on the Gordon Hayward contract.
Gordon Hayward, $30 million.
And he's got 2 years left?
2 years left, signed through 2023.
What I like about that is you get 13 and you get 15, Jake. Now all of a sudden, you've got 3 top half of the first round picks. You probably will not hit on all of them. So I don't look at it as you're in some major financial issue down the road and like, oh gosh, how are you going to re-sign all these guys? That'd be a great problem to have. But you get a couple cracks at it. If Myles Turner is moved in this deal to try and match up contracts, Jake, then all of a sudden Mark Williams at 13, Walker Kessler at 15, like one of those guys would be in the mix there. And now you have a timeline of a Halliburton, Duarte, Isaiah Jackson, insert the 6th pick, insert the 13th pick, insert the 15th pick. I really like the makeup of that. Now, Hayward, I don't know what you would do with him. He could play for you. Maybe he shows you something in the first half of the season. And then, Jake, what if you moved him at the trade deadline for a playoff-hungry team? And now next year, you still have Cleveland's pick. You now have moved Hayward for a first-round pick, and you've got your own first-round pick to where you can do a lot of stuff next season as well. I really like that option for the Pacers. I think they need to take advantage right now of being in this favorable cap situation, which, again, you're eating Hayward to a degree with that. I'm not saying he's a building block moving forward or anything like that. You would eat his cap, but at the same time, you would acquire 2 picks in the first 15, and that's music to my ears.
I'm telling you right now, the deal to trade for Gordon Hayward and get those 2 picks, I would do it all day long. Because not only, and I realize his price tag is high, I think Gordon Hayward is a nice player. And actually is a player that Indiana doesn't really have, I don't think. I mean, who is Indiana's 6'9" wing guy that can shoot from the outside and run a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, O'Shea Brissett, yeah. They don't.
I mean,
TJ Warren is
every team that you look at, if you look at NBA championship teams, there is always somebody on the roster who's seemingly, the old game of one of these things is not like the others. There's always one player on the roster that you're like, wait, what? That guy makes how much? Because part of building a championship roster, as much of building a championship roster is personnel and talent, part of it is the jigsaw puzzle of figuring out contracts and matching them. I mean,
which is quite the puzzle.
Totally. Listen, Peter Dinwiddie for the Pacers, who's now with Philadelphia, went from working in the ticket office to an executive position because he was a genius and is brilliant at numbers and salaries and finances. And the juxtaposition of contracts to all gel together into one. He's made a career out of that. When Donnie Walsh left the Pacers, he was retained as a consultant because of his experience and knowledge level of contracts and knowing salary caps and how to make room in the salary cap. So every team has a guy on it. Every championship team has a guy that when you look at the roster, you're like, wait a minute, that guy made how much this year? Well, he's there, that player, because somehow he was a jigsaw piece that fit the puzzle of making the salaries match to build the team you want. I could see Gordon Hayward being that guy, and you would still get some pretty deep. Now, are you getting $30 million worth of contribution from him? No, but to your point, Kevin, you're paying $30 million for the combination of 16 points and 5 boards a game from Hayward when healthy, and then 2 new pieces.
Exactly.
Then all of a sudden, you have now
Hayward's almost the cherry on top.
If you could make that
Expensive
deal,
cherry.
I would. That deal to me sounds.
Now you'd give up probably Turner and McConnell if you're matching up contracts, which again to me I don't lose too much sleep over that situation. And I want to make this clear, Jake, because I can hear people say, "Well, the Russell Westbrook eating of contract you didn't like." What was coming with the Russell Westbrook eating of contracts? A first-round pick when I'm going to have no hair in 2027. That's 5 years down the road. You're getting 2 picks right here, right now in the 2022 NBA draft, which we've talked about all offseason long. Align the timelines. Get everybody on a similar path, similar page. That's what I like about this versus the Lakers deal, where first off, Westbrook would make a lot more money. I'd be willing to bet Russell Westbrook would have some issues that would impact the locker room and off the floor as well. I don't necessarily think that would be there with Hayward. But the biggest aspect to it all is the assets you're getting from the Lakers that are young are way, way too far down the road, whereas the 2 assets you'd be getting from Charlotte are sitting right there. And you can do a lot of things with 13 and 15. Could you then say, all right, here's number 6, here's number 13, let's move up and get Jaden Ivey. And then you still come back and you have that 15th pick later in the first round. It would just offer a lot of different avenues. So of all the stuff that you've kind of seen rumored, floated around, you guys know I want to move Brogdon. This one to me is enticing. And again, Jake, Charlotte has had Myles Turner interest in the past, and I think Charlotte wants to do this to clear up room to bring back Myles Bridges.
Could Brogdon be in that mix?
I don't know. Don't you feel like they got a lot of guards? Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball. I don't know. I mean,
LaMelo. I mean, that's the straw that's mixing the drink there now, moving forward, right?
Yeah.
So you're probably right.
Mark wanted to talk a little Pacers draft. Good morning, Mark.
Hey guys, excellent night last night. Had a blast, and I think you guys need to do that again sometime soon.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yeah. Did we talk, Mark? Because I met a couple Marks at one point.
I don't think you and I did, but I tell you what, and you may have done the same thing. But what impressed me about your partner there is that he actually went around the crowd and actually sat down and had real conversations with people at the tables. From what I observed, so
look at that, Jake.
I did. Yeah, that was Jake. Yeah.
No, that was the best part about it, to be honest with you. I loved it.
I thought my favorite part was the meet and greet. Yeah, 90 minutes of walking around and chatting with people.
Now, Mark, admittedly, I will tell you this, Mark. One of my weaknesses is I'm terrible at remembering names, and I apologize for that. So I'm assuming that you were one of them that I chatted with last night, right?
No, I was not. You were at a table next to me, and I had a couple buddies there, and we went up and grabbed some food, and you had moved around. But no, I just thought that was really cool that you took the time to do that. But what I was calling in about, you were talking about Gordon Hayward, the 13 and the 15. I would do that deal in a heartbeat just from the standpoint that if we could unload Brogdon, I would take, and basically, like, I would look at it as a swap of players, and we get a couple picks. And I would liken the trade of what the Pacers did, probably about 30 years ago with George McGinnis when they brought him back from, I think it was the Denver Nuggets. They brought him back for the sunset of his career so he could retire a Pacer. And you got to admit, every Pacer fan has an affinity for what Gordon did at Butler. And would have loved to have had him here in his prime.
No question about that. I mean, there is a level of, and that's the thing, Mark, is it is crazy to think because he's 32, and I appreciate the kind words and your being there last night. He makes a great point, Kevin, in the fact that is Hayward, he's probably going to sell some tickets, right? He's going to generate a little bit of interest.
And I'm not even going there with
but I think
Jake.
he can play.
Yeah, and again, I'm not even, like, that to me is just a little bit of cherry on top. His wife's from here. You would think there would be some appeal. And I think now all of a sudden you can do a lot of things with Hayward. You can, if he is healthy for the first half of next year and he does play well and the Pacers don't look like necessarily a top half of the Eastern Conference team, boom, you can move him at the deadline, find a desperate team that's more championship ready, and potentially get a first-round pick back for that. So to me, 13 and 15 is what really stands out about that deal. And I said it to Ryan Carr yesterday, and certainly Kevin Pritchard would be the one that's more at fault for this. While the Pacers have struggled mightily when it's coming to drafting, they have done such a great job of giving themselves other options to build a team. And right now, from a cap space standpoint, from a draft pick standpoint, they are in a situation to make some of those moves. We're going to have Scott Agness on around 8:30. He is in New York tonight. You got to think the Pacers pick is in the green room, right? Don't they invite about 15, 20 guys to the green room?
I would hope. There's always the one guy in the green room that they just keep showing. It's like, oh, man.
Then the girlfriend is still scratching his back. Yeah, this is, boy, this has been like this for an hour now.
During the NFL draft, Kevin, one of the brilliant moves that you see, and you see it now it's a little more common. And I can't remember what player it was, but it was Drew Rosenhaus, one of his clients. There was some player that they were showing in the green room, and Drew Rosenhaus told the guy in advance, if you happen to notice that you're on screen, on camera, in the green room, be on your phone.
Play Wordle.
But look like you're talking on your phone. And so I can't remember what player it was, but legend has it that they showed him in the green room, and when they showed him, as soon as they showed him, the player realized he was on camera and made it look like he was getting a phone call and took the call. And the team that was on the clock was like, somebody's calling him saying that they're about to take him. So it accelerated supposedly it created urgency to draft him.
How about that? The fake phone call.
Now you probably see that more often, but it is a fascinating, the NBA draft over the years has been what might, to me, the greatest moment in NBA draft history, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but was when Eldon Campbell was drafted. And this would have been the 1990 draft, I guess. And then I can't remember if it was on radio or television afterwards. The player gets drafted, and then they're talking about the next pick. Now, Atlanta's now on the clock, and let's look at the Hawks' needs. But while we wait on Atlanta, here's the Denver Nuggets' latest pick. They go and they interview him. And I can't remember if it was on TNT or if it was on the radio interview, because radio, obviously, and you can hear the draft tonight at 7 o'clock on this radio station. But Eldon Campbell was being interviewed, and whoever was interviewing him said, so what can you do? What can you bring to the Lakers or whoever it was that drafted him? And then they said, now, and my understanding is you earned your degree at Clemson. And in the greatest quote in the history of the NBA, he said, and I quote, "I didn't earn it, but they gave it to me anyway." It's the greatest quote ever. But it's, there's always so much fun of what players are wearing and what the hats look like. And I mean, there's just a ton that goes into it besides just the draft itself.
I love the foreigners that come out from the top section. They're sitting up there with their buddies. Yeah. And I didn't get invited to the green room, right, but I wanted to be in the building tonight. And there's a great story of Nikola Jokic when he was drafted by Denver. ESPN was in a commercial, and Jake, the commercial was for Taco Bell. Does that fit Jokic perfectly?
Totally.
Here's this little pudgy guy that, here he comes. The Nuggets fans are probably like, who in the world is that we're drafting
Trust
here?
Trust me, in Denver, somebody that Denver and Taco Bell go hand in hand,
yeah, I was
right?
going to say, yeah, that is munchies to say
I think also, though, there is more, maybe it's just me, Kevin, when I really was into the NBA draft, I'd go over to my buddy Matt Jacklin's every year, and we'd watch the draft. I remember when they drafted Chuck Person, the Pacers did. Jack and I both threw pillows at the television. We were so angry.
Sounds like us with the Plumlee pick.
Yeah, when they drafted Reggie Miller, I think a little bit has been by the time the Pacers drafted Reggie Miller, everyone knew they were not going to draft Steve Alford. I mean, it was pretty well known that he was at best a second-round pick. And back then, the first round was only like 24 picks, 25 picks. But when the Pacers drafted Rick Smits, Steinberg and I went down to the NBA draft party at Market Square, and we booed relentlessly. So I always loved the draft because the Pacers had, marquee picks. It's been a long time since this has been this much interest. We all went through. Listen, you folks listening, all of us, we all did. We all went through the gangly, awkward, pimply face braces phase of our interest in the draft, and that was the Voight basketball VHS tape at the Tabernacle European years, where every player was like some player from Croatia or Turkey, and
Stanko, Barco, whatever his name was.
sign and stash guys. There was a huge phase of that, and I think we've all made it through that. We can all collectively take a deep breath now, and we're back to the way it is, which is college players. But we don't know these college players as much, admittedly, right? But Banchero, we know because he played deep into the tournament, and Duke's on TV all the time. And same with Mark Williams. And then I think Jabari Smith, because he was so dynamic and Auburn was so good this year. So we do have some recognition level back to it. And then the Pacers drafting in the top 10 makes a difference.
Jake, I'm curious if you were going to, and again, let's play the game of Banchero, Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren go in the top 3. And you're the Pacers sitting right there. If you had to then slot guys in a green, yellow, red category. Green, awesome. Love it. Yellow, okay. Red, not very happy. Again, take out those top 3.
Okay.
Who would be in the green category?
For the Pacers?
For the Pacers.
And we're taking Ivy out of this?
No, I mean, I guess we would both probably put Ivy in that green category, but let's say the top 3, again, Smith, Holmgren, Banchero are out. Who would you slot into that green category?
In the green category, I would put Jaden Ivey, right? I would put Mathurin, quite frankly. Probably Keegan Murray. In the yellow light, I would put Dyson Daniels, Johnny Davis, and A.J. Griffin.
God, I don't know if I'd give Griffin and Daniels yellow status. Griffin, it's just there's a health element to him, which, again, we're probably a little scarred in this town because of that, Jake, but that's concerning. Johnny Davis, I felt like everything looked, there was a high level of difficulty to what he had to do to, I think, score at the level that he did, which was impressive, but I just don't know if that translates at the next level. I would put Jaden Ivey and I'd put Ben Mathurin in green. I don't think I'd put Keegan Murray there.
Well, Murray, to me, here's the thing. I think Murray this is the thing to me.
I like Murray, but
I do too. I feel like Murray.
I'm left wanting just a little bit more.
I feel like Keegan Murray is probably one of the most ready to play right now, but also is the closest to his ceiling already. So you're going to get a good player, and in 5 years, you're going to have a good player. And in 7 years, you're going to have a good player. And then in 9 years, you're going to have a guy that used to be a good player. A Dyson Daniels and I think Johnny Davis is in that same category as Murray, actually. Dyson Daniels, to me, feels like a guy that you might get a bust, but you also might get a guy that you go, holy cow, man, I can't believe this guy fell this far.
Yeah, Daniels has got some traits you can't teach.
Daniels reminds me of Doug Christie, and I know that that's not a household name.
Oh, wow.
But, a bigger guy that can guard, that can distribute.
Him and Kobe always got into it.
Yeah, that could kind of do a little of everything pretty well. That's what it feels like to me. Now, Shaedon Sharpe to me would be a red light. I just wouldn't go there. I know that it maybe I'm holding myself back with that.
Boy, the on-court skills, though, Jake, I don't think would be in the red category, right?
Do we know that, though?
Yeah, I guess we're going off of workouts and some hearsay, but athleticism-wise and from a jump shot standpoint, I've made the baseball analogy for several weeks now, but Keegan Murray to me seems solid double. It seems a little bit too Chris Duarte-like. And I just think in a single-digit pick,
I would agree with that.
You got, and again, I know JMV and I have had this conversation several times. We had it last night. You just got to swing a little bit more. And for me, that's where Ivey, and that's probably unrealistic to expect Ivey to fall to 6, but Mathurin, I don't think it'll come to this, but I'd be interested to see if Mathurin and Murray were on the board, where the Pacers would go. That would have to mean Shaedon Sharpe goes 5 or something like that. Right. But I think that.
I think Mathurin may end up going 5.
Oh gosh, that's a kick in the.
You and our buddy Michael from last night, man. Jonathan. I'm sorry,
the Arizona grad.
John is all in on.
He was hooting and hollering. I was loving it.
John was great, man. It was fun.
Let's get to Dave before we hit a break. Dave, you want to talk Pacers needs?
Yeah, I think what you guys talking about getting Hayward here, that would be phenomenal. We got to get rid of, unload the 6, and I think we can get 2 of the top 15 picks. We got to say bye-bye to Myles, and we've had enough of, the other guy.
Brogdon?
Brogdon, oh yeah. Milwaukee got rid of him for a reason.
Now, did you say unload the 6?
Yeah, in order to get two top 15 picks.
Oh, no. You would trade Turner and McConnell to Charlotte. Again, Charlotte wants to give up Hayward's contract. They got to pay other guys. So you are keeping 6. You trade Turner and McConnell, you absorb the Hayward contract, you eat it to a degree, and then you get 13 and 15. You would have 3 picks in the first 15.
Well, I'll tell you one guy they need to take if they're getting 13 or 15 is that's Malachi Branham for Ohio State.
Boy, he had some big moments against Indiana, didn't he?
I think he's a poor man's Jaden Ivey, and he's what? Was he a freshman or a sophomore?
Yeah, freshman. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is. His upside's incredible. So
yeah,
that's the route I would go. You need shooters, so
appreciate that, Dave. Thanks for calling. Yeah, Jake, when they come, if you get that late lottery, Mark Williams, you have been singing that. Yeah, there was it Justin who wore the Duke Cameron Crazy shirt last night?
Yes.
You asked him if that was for Mark Williams there. Walker Kessler, big man from Auburn, is another guy that I kind of like as well. Tari Eason's a name from LSU if they get kind of late lottery. And the guy with the hair from Baylor, Jeremy Sohan. A little bit more of a defensive mindset with that pick.
You've got to look at, there's a blueprint. There is kind of a blueprint on on the situation the Pacers might find themselves in, which we'll get to here in just a couple of minutes.
We'll do that. We'll take a closer look at the guys from the state of Indiana who could hear their name called tonight in the first round. Will it be 2? Will it be 3? We'll chat that. Continue to take your calls as well. Scott Agness live from the draft at 8:30. Gregg Doyel at 9 o'clock.
School is in session.
Jason Benetti, the pitch clock. That's just going to happen.
If you didn't want to do the pitch clock, you could put a little moat around the mound.
Yes.
Tiny little crocodiles. Think about the pressure for the guy who's in charge of opening and closing the tiny little moat.
Yes.
You don't want to get it wrong.
You can get 1,000 in a row right, but it's one. It's
somebody getting a toe bitten off. We don't want to see that.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Long days, longer to-do lists? Hire with Indeed. Their hiring platform lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews all in one place. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit.
Mortgage interest rates have started to drop, but you need to get locked in today. Visit thehomeloanexpert.com, home of the 10-day closing guarantee. NMLS number 1326241.
Hey, Indiana, the PGA Tour is in full swing, and the best place to tee off is on FanDuel Sportsbook. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query, and right now, new customers get $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. All you have to do is head over to the app and sign up with promo code MARK. FanDuel is an official betting operator of the PGA Tour, so they have all your betting favorites to choose from. Get in on the action with tournament winners, top 20 finishes, match betting, and so much more. Plus, you can now combine your PGA Tour bets for an even bigger payday. If you haven't tried FanDuel, now is the perfect time to give it a shot. Just join with promo code MARK and turn a $5 bet into $150 in free bets, win or lose. Promo code MARK, MARC. And while you're there, check out their everyday odds boosts and specials for everything from same-game parlays to Dinger Tuesdays for baseball. It's all great. I love everything about it. The app is also safe, secure, and easy to use. And when you win, you get paid quick. So again, promo code MARK to turn a $5 bet into $150 in free bets, win or lose. MARC, exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 and over in Indiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
At Eskenazi Health, our patients are treated with compassion and skill. That's why Eskenazi Health is looking for professionals who share our mission and are dedicated to serving the community. As an employee of Indiana's top hospital for social responsibility and community health investment, you'll enjoy excellent benefits, competitive pay, and unwavering leadership support. Learn more about Eskenazi Health careers online at eskenazihealth.edu/careers.
Hi, it's Bob from Royal Spa. Soaking in a hot tub full of Epsom salts is the absolute best way to minimize everyday aches and pains. And we know all about Epsom salts at Royal Spa. Royal Spa hot tubs are the only hot tubs on the market that can safely and effectively use Epsom salts. Made right here in Indiana, Royal Spa hot tubs are the highest quality hot tubs on the market. Visit any one of our 3 Indianapolis locations or visit royalspa.com.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Sip and save at Circle K with our great new drink subscription. Join Sip and Save today and enjoy one drink a day every day for just $5.99 a month. Enjoy your favorite Circle K ice cold fountain drink, Froster, or freshly ground coffee every day. That's 30 drinks a month for only $5.99. So sip and save at Circle K. Sign up in store or at CircleK.com. Circle K. Take it easy.
Indianapolis. At Geico, our employees' careers matter to us.
An inclusive office matters to me.
We hear you, Kelly. Geico has employee resource groups to bring people from all communities together because diversity matters. Your hopes and dreams matter. Even giving you a little space, your lucky bobblehead matters.
Want to work at Geico, Randy? He says yes.
When it comes to your career, what matters to you matters to Geico. We're now hiring claims, sales, and customer service agents. Apply today at careers.geico.com/Indianapolis and let's get growing.
Hey, it's JMV for the absolute best in realty. Mark Dietl Realty. 317-755-4232. That's 317-755-4232. Online, markdietl.com. That's markdietl.com. Today. So, how about Paul and Teresa in Edinburgh? They needed to move out of town, but first they needed to get top dollar in their existing home to afford the move. They had 21 acres out of the city, so it wasn't an easy sale. They reached out to Mark Dietl, and he listed and sold their home in a few weeks for $60,000 over their asking price for Paul and Teresa in Edinburgh. Mark Dietl has a guarantee for you. Multiple offers on your home in 3 days, or he is going to list it for free. That's Mark Dietl Realty, 317-755-4232, 317-755-4232. MarkDietl.com, that's MarkDietl.com today.
93.5 and 107.5.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Who will the Pacers select at the NBA Draft? Tonight at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
8 o'clock hour here. Thanks again to everybody that came out last night. A night in the fan cave. We had a blast over at the Indiana Historical Society. And tonight, it's kind of the rare late June appointment television, Jake. The 6th overall pick for the Pacers as of now. The first pick in the second round and the last pick in the second round. A lot of intrigue there. And I think we could hear 3 names from the state of Indiana announced in round 1 tonight. It's interesting, Jake, when you look at these guys. I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, look at where they were ranked coming out of high school. I mean, Jaden Ivey was not some top 50 player.
Right.
Hell, I bet Christian Lander was ranked higher than him coming out of high school. And yet, the development of Purdue speaks for itself. Jake LaRavia was, where was he committed to? SIU Edwardsville before he went to Indiana State and then transferred to Wake Forest. He wasn't even, I'd be willing to bet at one point, Jake, he wasn't like a top 15, 20 kid in the state of Indiana. And yet, again, through player development, certainly the coaching staffs at those respective schools, he's blossomed into a guy that could sneak in to the back end of the first round. And then Blake Wesley from South Bend goes to Notre Dame for a year. I really think what hurt Wesley a little bit was that COVID year really limited coaches being able to see him. And I think Notre Dame was able to, provide something stable in his back home, or in his backyard, I should say. And then not a lot of eyes got on him, but he wasn't some top 100 player either. So it's really a credit to all three of those individuals developing as much as they did, doing it in a very quick manner. Wesley, a one and done. Jaden Ivey, 2 years. I think LaRavia, 3. And now we could hear all of their names called tonight in round 1.
If you look, Kevin, and I remember a couple of years ago when this was on the horizon, beginning about 6 years ago, when Brad Stevens first became the head coach in Boston. Not first, but when they were kind of making their rise. 2 first-rounders in 2015. Terry Rozier, R.J. Hunter. I guess you'd say they went probably 1 for 2 there. Rozier, they were able to get good minutes from him and then parlay it. 2016, 3 more first-rounders. Ante Zizic, it's hard for me to say his name. The next one, it's really hard for me. Gorjan, and then Jaylen Brown. What are you laughing at?
I just gave up. You're like,
Gorjan. Just went off one name.
Yubaseli, is that right?
Is that Pele?
I think it's Gorjan Yubaseli.
Cousin of Pele?
That's right. 2017, just Jason Tatum. Not bad. But then after that, 2019, 3 first-rounders. Grant Williams, Matisse Thybulle, and Romeo Langford. Again, had to parlay some of those into other pieces, but Grant Williams, nice piece for them. Last year, 3 first-rounders. Desmond Bain, Peyton Pritchard, Aaron Nesmith. Not all of these players panned out, but you gave yourself margin for error, and you were able to get auxiliary pieces around. I think that we think, Kevin, that because a player's a first-round pick, that means that they have to be like, people are always like, well, he's a first-rounder, and he's got to be Danny Granger, he's got to be Jermaine O'Neal, he's got to be Paul George. He's not, okay, on to the next. No. You get your pieces, and then you build around those pieces with compliments. Grant Williams is a nice complimentary piece for Boston. Peyton Pritchard, for that matter, is a nice complimentary piece for Boston. Some of the other guys, Derek White, they were able to get because the pieces they had luxury to be able to parlay into different things. Some of the great Indiana teams that we've seen, some of the great Pacer teams that we've seen were not Jeff Foster was a glue for the Pacers for a very long time, a very important piece. He was somebody they traded for on draft night from a late first-round pick in Vonteego Cummings that I don't even know if he ever made it in the league. Wasn't a lot. I doubt many people were calling in this radio station doing backflips over Jeff Foster. Turned out to be a really critical piece for really good teams for a long time. There's just a lot that goes into it in terms of building a team beyond just going out and getting that one superstar.
Well, look at Golden State's title. They don't win it without Jordan Poole. They don't get the 3 seed in the West without Jordan Poole. Where was he drafted? 28. It's not Clay. It's not Draymond. It's not Steph Curry. But a very critical piece. And I know he didn't play great in the series, but, Looney has been an important guy for them as well. He was a draft pick. So, again, these are all aspects to the Pacers that they've struggled with over the past decade. I think last year was a huge step in the right direction, and now you need another one on the back end of that. Is this Stefan or Steven? Mark? Stefan, welcome to Kevin and Query. Good morning.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm doing great. I got 2 pieces to this deal. A lot of people hearing us making a pick But what happened if Portland and New Orleans were at a spot where they see a player that they want and they're willing to part ways with Zion or part ways with Dayton? Then my second part is, Jake, sir, I'm going to need you to, like, really, really chill out with the Sharpe situation, because you say you get mad about a camp, a kid got a camp. Didn't nobody get mad about the camp when the coach screwed over Kenny Moore with his contract? It's just all about making sure you get the top value for what you are. Their bodies are not going to hold up very long, so why not get the maximum amount of dollars that you're supposed to get when you're playing? Because nobody's going to care if he goes out and blows out a knee, and then now he's not going to make any money.
Then why does anybody play in college?
Everybody plays in college to showcase their talents to get to the next level. That's why.
So then why wouldn't he?
He basically in the situation is a top talent where he already has proven it. LaMelo Ball
Where did he prove it?
And went overseas.
But where did he prove it?
He proved it pretty much everywhere he's ever played. He doesn't have to play in college in order to make it.
That's fine. Tell me where that was.
Let me see. You got AAU. You got literally high school. You got literally.
He didn't play in high school. He didn't play in American high school. He played in Canada. If you talk to scouts, which I have.
But he also played in AAU with the top 50 players.
Right, and at that time he was ranked as the 30. At that time he was ranked as the 35th best player in his class. So he reclassified. Which moved him up. I don't dispute that he's a talented player. What I'm saying is he has put himself in position. He's put himself in position to have questions that be there about. He may be. Don't get me wrong, and I've said all along, he may be an elite level player, Stefan. I don't dispute that. That possibility is there, but everyone will tell you that part of what puts him there is this intrigue of not having enough body of work to know definitively that is the case. And he has, to his credit, cemented that the impossibility for that doubt to be shown because he hasn't played in college. My simple point was this, Stefan. I don't have a problem with, I understand that he has followed the advice of other people. I get that. But when you become a 19-year-old professional that is getting paid a ton of money, at some point, and the Pacers are a franchise more than any other that have been burnt by players that have listened to other people's advice on where they should be, and that has worked out on the short end for the Pacers. So as a result of that, all other things given equal, I would be hesitant towards going to a player who has shown a propensity or a precedent to listen to other people about their path as opposed to one who has blazed their own. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so my question to you on that then, right? You say that, right? Then Shaedon Sharpe, you turn around, TJ Leaf played in college.
Right.
Had a good college career. What did he do when he got to the league? So would you tell me, if you had the choice to pick Shaedon Sharpe or TJ Leaf in the draft again, would you still choose TJ Leaf just because he
It's totally different because one of them I'm drafting in the 20s. It is. Oh. Let me finish, Stefan.
Right.
I get what you...
Every player is a risk.
What's that?
Every player.
Correct.
Every player is a risk.
That is correct. So therefore, when every player is a risk, what you do is you try to minimize the number of risks. And the way that you try to minimize the number of risks is you take as many variables into account as you can, and therefore you look at it and you say, okay, based on precedent, which player appears to have the fewest amount of risks? In TJ Leaf's case, you're talking about somebody that was drafted, 21st, 20th, something like that, versus a lottery pick. There is a difference. The amount that you're investing in terms of what by passing on TJ or by taking TJ Leaf, they passed on, I think, OG Anunoby. In Shaedon Sharpe's case, they could possibly be passing on a Benedict Mathurin or a Keegan Murray. The stakes are a little bit higher at that position. That's all I'm saying. And I can tell you, I mean, you can shoot the messenger if you want. I can tell you, in talking to people who are actually going to be in rooms making these decisions, that what I am relaying to you is a legitimate concern by people who make six figures to make these exact decisions. I'm just relaying to you the message.
Jake, I think something that, and on the Damian Lillard, Zion Williamson front, I didn't 100% follow that. I don't know if Lillard has probably been talked about a little bit more. It would take a whole lot more than number 6 overall to be getting him. And then you would obviously have the elephant in the room of, do those guys want to be here long term? And that's a contract, extension situation, all of those things on that front there. With Shaedon Sharpe, Jake, and again, I know I've talked a lot about Ben Mathurin, but I just want to reiterate, On the floor, the athleticism and the shooting, I feel, is very intriguing. But what I feel like separates Mathurin for me is probably where you have issue, and I understand where you have concern over Shaedon Sharpe. You know, Ben Mathurin is a guy, just to go over his story again, you know, he tragically loses his older brother at the age of 12. That's immediate. You've got to grow up. His dad was never really involved in his life. He moves from Montreal to Mexico at the age of 16. That is maturation that I can't even imagine. He had no idea how to speak Spanish at the time. He goes down to the NBA Latin America Academy down there. He's of Haitian descent, so that's where he was able to go down there for that. And he's down there for 2 years. And at that point, you know, it is, I've got to make this basketball thing work out. And I think the events that led to that for Mathurin is why he checks that off-the-court box. And I go back to what Ryan Carr said earlier in the week. When you asked him about Ben Mathurin, it was not the athleticism. It was not he's a great contested shooter. It was not that he scored, 30 against TCU in the NCAA tournament or 27 against UCLA in the Pac-12 title game. It was how you describe TJ McConnell. He's hardworking, and he brings an intensity level that we really, really like. That, to me, checks such an important box of, I don't necessarily, you never truly know, Jake, but I don't necessarily get the Oladipo, Paul George vibes. We talk about what an international player would mean kind of in this market. Maybe you don't get the AAU culture. I think that's what makes Mathurin even extra appealing to me. I don't necessarily write off a guy like Shaedon Sharpe or a guy that has grown up much more in the, I've played with all the Team USA guys and, I maybe went to this prep school and so I might want to team up with people down the road. But I realize people that have concerns for that. With Mathurin, I don't see any of that. And that is what I think adds to the intrigue for me.
By the way, I should have, and Stefan, I apologize, I didn't get to this also. I should have pointed this out. TJ Leaf, I appreciate Stefan using that as an example. It's a very good one because TJ Leaf's dad was a complete pain in the backside at UCLA, and the Pacers should have seen that when they drafted him, had they done probably more expansive background check on him. And as a result, when TJ Leaf was asked by the Pacers to stay here for off-season workouts or to go into the G League more extensively to get time, and he listened to, quote-unquote, his camp that told him that he was actually going to go elsewhere to develop his game, yes, in fact, that's the kind of background that I'm talking about. So thank you for bringing him up. That's a perfect example.
And, honestly, the name besides OG, I felt like that was very popular around that TJ Leaf selection is a name that we're hearing on the block right now, and that is John Collins.
John Collins is a good player.
Who went to pick right after
he's a good player.
TJ Leaf. And I think kind of as a present-day big guy, John Collins makes some sense. I don't know if the Pacers would be able to put together the right package for him, but I thought he was another name right there in that range that outside of OG Anunoby, whatever, Kyle Kuzma, I think Derek White, Jared Allen. Boy, that's one where, oh, jeez. God, TJ Leaf couldn't. I probably would have beat him in the knockout contest that we had, which is saying something.
TJ Leaf was one that I heard, in retrospect, they're like, man, we should have given him more minutes earlier, and that would have helped him. And they didn't, and I
probably would have got the Pacers in the lottery a little bit earlier than they are now.
TJ Leaf is, that was a. Stefan's right though, man. That was a busted pick, no question.
Horrific,
no question.
Awful pick on that front.
239-1070. Let's go to Adam. Adam is on line one. Mark, fire him up. Adam, what's up? Adam, you there?
Good morning.
What's up?
Yeah, yep.
You're on the air, Adam.
All right. Well, the one thing that I wanted to talk about was Shaedon Sharpe. And with him not playing college, one of the other big concerns that I would have is he's going to be stepping into competition, obviously, that he's not seen before, which is similar to a lot of the other college players. But since he didn't play college, wouldn't there be a pretty high concern that with him competing at that high a level that he could get injured pretty easily? He's going to be trying to do things that he hasn't have experience doing against this level of competition. And he also doesn't have the last year or 2 years at the college level to get his body ready.
I think that's a fair point. I think
Agreed.
it's more true in football, but I think it's a fair point.
I mean, it's an 82-game grind, Jake.
But I will say, though, to add, in AAU ball, it is true they play all over the place. I mean, they play a ton of games all the time, right?
A little bit different when you're spacing these games out a little bit.
No,
you're
I get
on
it.
planes. It's not necessarily 3 games in a day. And it's not like Shaedon Sharpe had tons and tons of AAU background either. So, Sharpe, I've said it for several weeks now, Jake. I feel like it's going to take ownership sign-off. There is a level of risk. There's a level of patience. There's a level of we are projecting big time. I mean, I cannot recall a North American prospect that usually the international guys, the foreign guys, the Europeans mainly is who we probably talk about, that you have this with. There probably was more intel into Goga than there was, or is, I should say, with Shaedon Sharpe. Goga played in one of the higher leagues.
Goga's another one.
Over there.
I mean, you and I are going to debate this till the cows come home. I look at Goga, and people are like, that was a terrible pick. I'm like, was it? What was he, like 20? Where was he drafted? 18th?
I think so. That sounds right.
I mean, a guy that's a rotational piece.
But is he even that?
I do. I think so.
On a team drafting 6 overall, or a team that is trying to compete to be a top 6 team in the East?
Well, either one. I mean, I think that if you get a guy, by percentage, if in the first round you get a player that is an active part of your roster in 4 or 5 years and can give you quality minutes, then you're fine.
But what if you stink?
No, I get that, but I'm saying if the Pacers in 2 years, if they're really good, I do think that he is somebody that could be part of their rotation. I'm not an elite player, a 12-minute per game guy, but you have to acquire those pieces somehow, some way.
Yeah, my issue is you had 3 straight drafts of Leaf, Aaron Holiday, and
But
Goga.
again, Kevin, we go back to what was the average position where they were drafted?
Right. Late teens, I guess, with all of them, early 20s.
Okay.
Leaf, Aaron Holiday, Goga, and none of them are cracking your top 7 on a legit team. You need 1, if not 2, to be a rotational player. Again, I'm saying rotational. I'm not even saying starter. That is where the issue comes in.
Again, I just go back to, I don't disagree. I get what you're saying, but again, that's the damage in drafting in the 20s every year. But that's why this is so important.
But you've got teams that when they succeed, you look at their starting lineup and somebody in there is a guy in the 20s. We just mentioned the Leaf draft of John Collins and Jared Allen and Kyle Kuzma, Derek White. And for 3 straight years, you can't swing and miss. You've got to make contact at one point, and they didn't make contact with any of those selections. Let's get Jesse in. Again, Gregg Doyel is going to join us at the top of the hour. Scott Agness here in about 10 minutes. Jesse, you are excited for tonight.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's going to be great. I can't wait. You guys have hyped this up so much over the last 3 or 4 months, man. Cannot wait. One thing about Jaden Ivey I wanted to talk about, too. I'm a big Purdue fan. Love them. Purdue boiler up all the way. From what I saw, man, I don't think Jaden Ivey really checks that off the court. I really don't. I know he's been through his thing, but
tell me more on that. I don't know. Work ethic wise, it seems to be through the roof.
Yeah, but I saw him in the tournament, and he just kind of started yelling at his teammates, getting real frustrated, couldn't control his poise. That's real bad for a locker room.
Yeah. Thank you, Jesse, for that. The St. Peter stuff, Jake, we haven't talked about it in a while. That was not good for Jaden Ivey. I feel like the more I've gotten away from that, the more I'm willing to kind of give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt there and rely on, it's his first time in that environment. Does he learn from that? Does that sit and motivate him? I'm willing to bet on Jaden Ivey off the floor. I think the son of a very prominent coach, a very prominent player, a national champion, a WNBA champion, if I'm not mistaken. He's always been around the game. I would like to think that St. Peter's experience will be a big learning experience.
The one thing about Jaden Ivey that frustrated me was there were times I thought he went too late before he decided to take over. You know what I mean?
The game at the Kohl Center. You're playing for a Big Ten regular season title at that point. Yeah, that was a game as well. But I think you're willing to bet on those traits and developing those traits. All right, now we got a lot of phone calls to get to as well. Let's quickly hit a morning check down before we get to
the morning check down. Brought to to you by QC Kinetics, relieving your joint pain at QCkinetics.com on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Jake, last night in the NHL, it's the Avalanche taking a 3-1 lead over the Lightning, so it doesn't look like right now we're going to get 3 straight for Tampa Bay. An overtime goal there as the Avs take Game 4 on the road. Will your Avs close it out at home on Friday?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm...
And now are you going out there for the parade, for the party, remote
no, actually,
shows next week? Or?
I rented a snow machine, and we're going to create an avalanche in the backyard.
Cool. Well,
so you want to come by, you let me know.
Awesome.
Drink some Coors Light as well.
Tweet out the address, and we'll all be over there.
They play in the ball center, so we're going to drink Coors Light out of the little ball jars.
Mm-hmm.
And have,
I'll get some LeVar Ball bobbleheads to bring over. I'm sure I can find those.
That's fine.
Somewhere. Game 5 Friday night there.
Do you have any Avalanche gear sitting around that you can dust off and bring in the studio or no?
Oh, yeah. It's got Patrick Waugh t-shirt jersey laying
Have you not seen my Nordiques jersey shirt?
I want like an updated version.
I'm old school, Mark.
No.
My roots go far.
I expect you to buy
beyond.
their shirts when they come available for the Stanley Cup champions.
Do you want me to wear one? Do you want me to wear do you want me to get myself
it's better than yesterday's shirt.
Cup champion shirt?
Some random Super Bowl shirt. I got those $2 at the next Super Bowl.
Those are the ones they give like the third world countries of like the losers.
Right.
There you go.
I told you my greatest joke of all time was when Alabama and Notre Dame were playing in the it was Alabama and Clemson in the national title game, and I said in a strange irony, because Alabama lost, the Alabama national championship shirts are being sent to the third world country of Alabama. It's one of my greatest jokes of all time. Dodgers over the Reds 8-4 yesterday. Major League Baseball was Cubs 14-5 over the Pirates. Cards over the Brewers 5-4. Elsewhere, by the way, in baseball, it was the Indianapolis Indians last night winning 2-0 over the Memphis Raiders.
Shohei Ohtani, 13 strikeouts yesterday, one day after 8.
We need to clarify,
RBIs.
he pitched 13 strikeouts.
Yes,
he did not strike out 13 times.
Boy, but being at bat 13 times in a game would be quite impressive for your offense in that one. We are playing some draft audio from prospects. We heard from Jaden Ivey in the first hour. Here was Keegan Murray on his fit with the Pacers. Getting a private workout here in Indy with Keegan Murray and the Pacers.
Yeah, I've also met with them, visited with them in Indiana. So I think what they have, they've shown success of being a good team in the Eastern Conference. Tyrese is obviously a really good player, kind of makes those tough passes, really good assist to turnover ratio. So he's a guy that I think would be really, really cool to play with. Obviously, he went to Iowa State, so we have that connection. But he's a really cool guy, really good player. They have a really good staff, and I think it'd be a great fit.
Was that Mr. Roboto?
The audio quality via Zoom, not terrific there. Does Keegan Murray get to 6?
I think he does, actually. I think he does, because I think there's going to be... Look, Shaedon Sharpe is a guy that might... Shaedon Sharpe's either going to be one that like goes in the top 5 or he's going to slide out of the top 12.
Chet,
you know what I mean?
Ivy, Sharpe. Those are the dominoes.
He sounded like Optimus Prime.
At first I was like, is this a foreigner audio? It sounded a little bit odd, but no, that was Keegan Murray there, and obviously the Tyrese Halliburton connection via playing college basketball in Iowa. We'll see where Murray goes. I think a lot of talk about him and Ivy going 4-5 in some order there. That would leave the Pacers with a Sharpe, a Mathurin, an A.J. Griffin, a Johnny Davis, a Dyson Daniels, a name that Jake has brought up a lot as well. All right, we come back here on Kevin and Query. Scott Agness, he is in New York for tonight, the NBA draft. Is it the Barclays Center now?
Barclays?
Is that where they're at?
Sure.
I think that's where they moved the draft to. We'll talk to Scott Agness next about that here. Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Sundown Gardens 4th of July sale, June 25th to July 3rd. 20% off container shrubs and perennials, 30% off all items in Miss Mary's Gift Shop, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road.
The housing market has started to cool, but inventory is still low and homes are selling fast. We need to get you pre-approved today. TheHomeLoanExpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
Hubler has all the top brands: Chevy, Buick, GMC, Ford, Acura, Honda, Mazda, Nissan, and more. And every new vehicle includes a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Looking to sell your vehicle? We'll pay you top dollar, even if you don't buy ours. Take it from Brooke Hubler.
You can get a car anywhere, but you can only get a warranty like this at Hubler. 10 years, 200,000 miles.
Visit drivehubler.com.
Hubler has it
Warranty available on new vehicles except certain models, non-transferable or available on leases. Copy of the warranty is available for review at the dealership.
As a Shane Company jewelry consultant, I see so many customers who have struggled to find a wedding band at other stores. When they come to Shane Company, they find the one. Not only do we have the widest selection of unique wedding bands, we are also experts at helping you find the perfect band to complement your engagement ring, even if it's an heirloom ring. You can play around with stacking bands, try contour bands, or just go with something simple. There are so many options. We also have handsome men's bands, hundreds of styles to choose from in every price range. You might have no idea what you want, but we'll take the time to show you different metal types, fits, and styles. You can even build your own with our online tool. And we offer a free lifetime warranty. Come see us and we'll help you both find a band that you love wearing every day. For some helpful tips, check out our online wedding band guide.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Who's it gonna be?
Produce Jaden Ivey.
You would think Jaden Ivey wants Indy?
1980s basketball, then don't draft Jaden Ivey.
Keegan Murray mentioned that he has met with Indiana.
Keegan Murray, to me, feels like a brand new, loaded, with all the options, Honda Accord.
Jabari Smith.
Mathurin feels like he could be a Jaguar.
Chet Holmgren. Paolo Banchero.
Who's next to wear the blue and gold? Find out tonight on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Don't sweat.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It is 8:30 in Indianapolis. 8:30 everywhere in the Eastern Time Zone, for that matter. Jake Query along with Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton. Somebody asks on Twitter, hey, at what number should a draft pick, should you stop expecting a starter to be the pick that you're taking in the draft? Jake Query sounds like the past 10, it's rotational, so it makes me wonder. All I'm saying is, a team, I mean, not every player that you have on your basketball team is a transcendent Reggie Miller type player. You do need Dale Davises and Antonio Davises and, complementary pieces. Once it all comes, I think sometimes we get lost in the fact that teams are not always built overnight. And once it comes together, then you take a look at it after a few years and you go, now it makes sense. Derek McKee was a fine player for the Pacers. He was a top 10 pick in Seattle and then ultimately, was traded here because probably he was underperforming in Seattle, comes here, different expectation because of how he's acquired, and was a critical jigsaw puzzle piece. And that's just the way it works sometimes. Joining us now on the Payless Liquors guest line, Fieldhouse Files is where he writes. Scott Agness has been talking to us throughout the course of this draft, which, of course, all of that talk will culminate tonight when the Pacers make their pick. First question is, Scott, do you believe it will be the 6th pick where the Pacers are making their first selection?
Yeah, good morning, Jake. I do right now. I still believe they'll hold pat at 6. I personally don't want to give up far too many assets just to go up a couple of spots, and I think Sacramento right now, their thought is to try to wait until the very last minute to try to keep the price to go up, right? And so if it's during the draft, then other teams will know exactly who they're able to get with that 4th pick and may be willing to pay more. And for the Pacers, I just don't know at what point does that price become too much? I'd much prefer, I think, as I shared last week, for them to add another late lottery pick rather than to package 3 or 4 different things to go up 2 spots.
He's Scott Agness from Fieldhouse Files, live in New York. He will be attending tonight's NBA draft. We'll talk with him specifically about that in just a second. Scott, I did have a couple of, guys, a little bit more logistical questions I wanted to throw at you. Can you refresh our memories, if you will? Pacers have the first pick in the second round. Trading into the first round, what does that mean, like, contractually? Like, I know in the NFL it adds a year to your rookie deal. What is the benefit from moving from the second round to the first round, team-wise?
It's not a benefit for the team, actually, because gotcha. It's a benefit for generally. It's a benefit more so for the player because it means a guaranteed contract, and it means that for 2 years. Now, it usually extends up to 4, but basically that's the Jalen Smith situation, as a team can decline your, pick up your option for the 3rd year, and then you're just under them for 2 years. So the benefit with that 31st pick here, Kevin, is that you can basically probably get a first-round talent and not have to have it be on a guaranteed contract.
Gotcha. So you'd probably rather just stay there from a team standpoint. Okay. Obviously, you take the risk of that player being taken before you.
That 31st pick is often used, though, for bigger deals. And so, for example, if the Pacers do decide to move up, using that is not the worst thing. For example, they used that last year to move up and get Isaiah Jackson along with Aaron Holiday and moved him and a couple late second-round picks. That I'd be good with. But if you're trying to move, Chris Duarte, you're trying to move a first-round pick next year, all of that combined, I think that gets a little pricey for me.
Okay, then the other one I had, we haven't talked about this probably since he was traded here, but the Ricky Rubio cap space situation, is that still in play for the Pacers? Like, you hear these rumors. We were talking the Gordon Hayward thing earlier. I'm like, can you use the Rubio cap space there to execute that trade, or is he off the books come next week? I guess, do you only have this final week here before free agency starts to use that potentially?
Right. So the NBA fiscal year is through until July 1. That's the start of the new NBA year. So if any deals that they decide to execute before then go on this current year. And so, for example, like a team like Oklahoma City has a lot of cap space for this year. So I think it's something like $20 million still. So they would have an opportunity to use that cap space this year. However, a lot of deals have to wait. I think some of the most recent trades, those will wait until the following year. And that's a lot of times, too, why you get that awkwardness of the draft where it's, he's putting on a different hat, but we all know here in 2 weeks he's going to be wearing a different one.
Do you believe, Scott Agness is our guest. You've been in there when they've had different workouts. You talk to the Pacers executives, and we talked to Ryan Carr yesterday. Do you believe that the Pacers simply kind of have a list and they wait to see what happens in front of them and then take the best available on the list they've compiled? Or do they have a specific player that come hell or high water they're going to get?
I think it's the first one. Because if you start going off your draft board, that's, I think, in general where you make mistakes. Now, Kevin Pritchard has talked a lot that one night with us at Draft Lottery about having so many different possibilities that they are considering, and that's good and bad. The good thing there is it allows them, they could go all in on a trade and go get a guy. I'm just not sure if this is the draft where you want to do it. It doesn't seem like there's huge separation, especially amongst, after the 1 through 3. Although a lot of belief that Jaden Ivey very well could end up as the top player in this draft. And I know the Pacers remain very high on him, and I think if he's on the board, he would be their top choice. It just seems unlikely at 6.
Again, live from New York, Scott Agness is with us, covers the Pacers for Fieldhouse Files. Scott, if you were to put on the Pacers hat and I throw these 4 prospects at you, how would you rank them in the Pacers' eyes based off your educated guesses here? Keegan Murray, Dyson Daniels, Ben Mathurin, Shaedon Sharpe.
I think it would be Murray, Mathurin, Daniels, Sharpe. Although I can't, I'm not sure to what degree, but I know there are at least several individuals with the Pacers enamored with Shaedon Sharpe and have been looking into him. We're very excited that they were able to get him in for a draft. If you went that route, which I just don't think that would be a fit at all for this franchise for a number of reasons, but if you go that route, that tells you they're all in on kind of a rebuild process, even more so, taking it slowly, no rush, because it seems like he's at least a couple years away. But I believe it's Ivy, then Murray, and then after that you go to kind of that next tier of guys.
Do you think it's interesting with Shaedon Sharpe? I've gotten the impression that the Pacers are leery of him for the reasons that we've discussed on this program.
Mm-hmm.
is it possible the Pacers are smoke screening there and they're wanting other people to stay clear of him?
I think that could be a little bit of it. You have to be wary of what everyone's saying. That's why when new intel starts coming out, Monday and Tuesday of this week, you always have to consider the why. Why is somebody getting this info to be able to put that out there? So for sure. I just think there is a lot of intrigue around him only because, Jake, Pacers are never in this position. And so at what point do you have to go and reach a little bit, or do you want to because you hope you're not back here in this situation? But I think it's absolutely critical for them to be able to land the right guy, even if it's not the highest ceiling guy available at their pick. You want to land, like Ryan told us a couple days ago, that foundational piece, and even more to that point, a guy that wants to be here, because they've run out of that the last couple of years.
Is there new information on Shaedon Sharpe, or are you speaking kind of generically?
I'm just in terms of Shaedon Sharpe, I'm just speaking generically.
Right.
I thought his interviews could not be more disinterested. I give him the benefit of the doubt because he's just 19, and at Kentucky he didn't even play. Therefore, he probably didn't even talk with the media, has zero media training, and it feels like there's a lot of people behind the scenes telling him what to do rather than him explaining what he wants to do. So yeah, nothing new. Just like it's basically, I just did not get good vibes for him, and especially to come here to Indiana. Nah, I'd see him on the first flight to Miami and LA the next time when he becomes a free agent. I don't like that at all.
That's a frightening thought for Pacers fans, understandably. Scott Agness from Fieldhouse Files, again, is with us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Scott, do you think, I don't know, maybe it's not the only thing I really care about, do you think this 6th overall pick would play in Summer League?
Yeah, I think so.
No matter who it is? I mean, obviously health-wise. I kind of forget if top picks play in Summer League or not.
Generally, yeah, they do, not the entire time. So teams are already and by the way, that schedule's already out. So much for an off season. But you already, if there's 5 games like there should be, the player will probably play in 2, maybe 3. I would not expect a full slate of games, nothing like that. But usually the top guys, they absolutely play, and that's something the NBA tries to highlight in the summer schedule, and also teams are eager to finally see them within their system.
Yeah, July 8th, the first Summer League game for the Pacers there from Vegas. You mentioned earlier, Scott, it's an unprecedented situation for the Pacers. First time in 34 years they've drafted this high. Herb Simon does not strike me as someone that gets involved. We know he got involved with the Brogdon restricted free agent thing a few years ago, but he hires Kevin Pritchard and company for a reason. Do you think the fact that this is 6, that he would be someone that would get involved or would need final sign-off? And mainly I'm thinking in particular if they did want to go the Shaedon Sharpe route.
Yeah, my understanding is, yes, why Herb very much so hires smart people and then gets out of the way. There's times when you go to him and you go to him for clearance and you make sure he's aware before you do it. Therefore, it would give him an opportunity to not sign off on it and those type of things. So while I'm not exactly in that room, I am sure before anything significant like that would go down, they'd run that scenario briefly by him. And in fact, it might be going on these last couple of days. That way, when it comes draft night and if, the scenarios play out, then you're just deciding, is this what we're doing? You move on rather than, getting approval at that time. You want to have all of that stuff done by the time you enter draft day.
Scott, how many Pacer first-round picks are we going to see tonight?
I'm going to say 2. I still believe they add another lottery pick. They have too many options in terms of helping the team out with cap space and more so being able to move on from Malcolm Brogdon, which the writing was kind of on the wall, I think, on that ever since the Tyrese Halliburton deal. So if the Pacers have it their way, I think that's ultimately what's able to happen for them.
Will both Myles Turner and Malcolm Brogdon be a Pacer this time tomorrow?
I think Myles, for sure. I've been a little weary of those reports, and kind of to Jake's point earlier about why it's being put out there. I'm a little wary of it being put out that Myles is on the move for sure. That's at least not his understanding. I can tell you that, and he'd have to sign off essentially on a trade because that next team would want to sign him to a contract extension, right? He's in a contract year. I guess they could trade him. But my interpretation here is, yes, the Pacers would listen to any offers, but they're not necessarily soliciting deals to move on for Myles, and still actually would like to see what he looks like within this system. So I just think it'll be Malcolm,
Scott,
if anybody.
Here's a bad analogy, which I'm really good at. Scott Agness from Fieldhouse Files is our guest. After the Indy 500, I had said to Kevin, it's interesting. I keep a little flip sheet, and like every probably 20 laps or so, I write down the top 8 as I'm up in the turn to be able to keep track of what's going on. And when I went back and looked at it, the one name that was on like every page as people cycled through with pit stops, the one guy that was always up towards the top was Marcus Erickson, and he wins the race. I mean, he was there the entire day. Mm-hmm. Over the course of this process with the Pacers draft with the 6th pick, we've talked a lot about Shaedon Sharpe. At first, we talked a lot about Keegan Murray. We've talked a lot about Benedict Mathurin. There have been different guys. Who is the one that in the end, if you were to go back and look at your flip sheet, has been the most consistent name that you keep coming back to?
For me, it's been Benedict Mathurin for about a month now. So that's why that's the guy I'd pencil in at that spot, because that's gone with the understanding here, Jake, that by that point, both Ivey and Murray would be off the board. Otherwise, I'd probably go back to Keegan Murray. I know Detroit likes him, and I know the Pacers really like him, and he's a no-nonsense guy. He's the exact opposite of a player in what circumstances you get as a guy at Shaedon Sharpe, the complete opposite. It was a wonderful conversation with Keegan at the draft combine, for example. But to your question, it's been Benedict Mathurin for about a month for me.
The question now, I guess, becomes, is he going to be there, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And we're all wondering. I mean, it's been so strange, I think, how a lot of the true mock drafts, the ones that actually study this year-round, how they've all kind of been in a consensus for the last 2 or 3 months of the same 3 in the same order. And so maybe that will indeed hold true. It probably will, but especially with OKC at 2, I'm always a little on red alert with them because they just don't talk either. The Spurs don't share their info either, and so you never know which route they'll go. And then truly, the wild card becomes the Kings because by all accounts, they're set on trying to improve today rather than for the next couple of years with a draft pick. And so whomever is available at 4, there's going to be several teams trying to bid for that pick, and I'm curious if the Kings are smart enough to make the right deal.
Yeah, Woj just tweeted out Jabari Smith to Orlando, Chet Holmgren to Oklahoma City, Paolo Banchero to Houston, which is different than what Vegas has right now. Vegas had Banchero.
Well, they just took, I'm not saying which app I'm on because I'm a free agent when it comes to app solicitation.
Yeah.
One of them just took Jabari Smith for the first pick and Chet Holmgren for the second pick have now been taken off the board.
And Woj goes, as teams' boards finalized today, the 1, 2, 3 of the NBA draft is increasingly firm. And again, Smith to Orlando, Holmgren to Oklahoma City, Banchero to Houston there. Scott, just
to me, KB, by the way, that tells me it's basically a done deal, and that's him putting it lightly.
Right.
Because, by the way, Woj works for ESPN. They're broadcasting it. Now, I don't think there's any kind of keeping it hush-hush like the NFL draft, which I hate, by the way, but they don't have Rappaport, Schefter, those main guys tweet about it. Very surprised he's doing this early in the day, which tells me it's been long done.
Yeah, so. And I'm in the camp of tweet away. You're hired to break news, so there are people that are watching that will not necessarily be on Twitter. Scott, just a couple more here from me. It almost seems like with those 3 names going 1, 2, 3 in some order, and then the next trio would probably be Ivey, Murray, Mathurin. We'll see about Shaedon Sharpe. We'll see about Dyson Daniels and the reportedly greatest workout in Pacers history, or however it was worded. Does it almost seem like to you of Ivey, Murray, Mathurin, you just take whoever is left, and that's the 6th pick, or is that too much simplifying there?
No, I think that's ultimately what it'll be. I think those top 3, like you said, Ivey, Murray, Mathurin, I think that's what it'll be. Ideally, 4, 5, 6, and you take, if you're the Pacers at 6, whoever's left among that group, and you are thrilled. I don't think there's a lose situation there. I think all 3 of them would be instant impact type guys, and and guys that are really interesting, guys that they don't and come with attributes of guys that they really don't have. So I like all of those guys.
Has Jaden Ivey, I can't recall, Scott, what has been so far in this process his relationship with Sacramento?
Non-existent. It's kind of hilarious, Jake, on the Zoom call, which most of the elite prospects did with the help of the NBA, because actually most NBA teams don't announce who they bring in, don't announce and make players available. So we're lucky. We talk to just about every guy that comes through, but these top guys do not. And so Jaden was made available. He was asked about Sacramento, said, haven't really talked to him. No, I didn't go on a visit. And get this, guys. He was like, well, I guess going there at 4 wouldn't be the worst option. If there's not a worse endorsement you've ever heard, my goodness.
Yeah, play that for season ticket members and see how they react to that.
100%. Yeah, they don't forget that. And on top of that, I mean, what we've seen traditionally is the Kings go with a guard in the backcourt. That's what they've done for like 3 straight years. Now, it would be your best available, but that wasn't a ringing endorsement. There's actually been a lot of the top players who have not talked with or met with the Kings, which suggests even more that they won't be making that pick at 4. And that's another reason, too, why it would be beneficial for everybody in the league to kind of have that Woj set of, okay, the top 3 are set. Go on. That tweet basically tells me, okay, call Sacramento if you want the pick, if you want Ivy.
Scott, what's on the New York agenda for you before the draft gets underway? And I guess, is this the first time you've covered the draft? I've been to the NFL draft. Frankly, I think it's a bit overhyped. But NBA draft, maybe you got a little bit more access. Ryan Kelly was the pick when I went to the Colts draft. He wasn't
2.5 million people at the NFL draft. Call that overhyped.
It's amazing how people just love standing there all day for the NFL draft. And I'm good for the NFL to be able to monetize that a little bit. But yes, it is my first time here. I've never really found it noteworthy and interesting enough when the Pacers are consistently drafting 18th and 23rd, and there's basically a pot of 15 players they could choose from. Well, here, kind of like we discussed earlier, it's kind of down to 3 or 4 players that you can almost guarantee here. So really wanted to cover that and be part of that and see what it's about here with lottery picks, and hope to get a couple more stories, including kind of further info on these top 4 or 5 players that the Pacers would be interested in. So I'll be writing some more of those here leading up to the draft tonight.
Subscribing to Fieldhouse Files is an absolute must. Scott Agness in New York tonight for the draft. Scott, enjoy. Safe travels back, and thanks as always.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Scott Agness on his normal Thursday appearance. Gregg Doyel in 10 minutes.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, bowling, bowling.
Royal Pin.
Royal Pin Entertainment is the place to be. They have 3 locations in Indy, plus enjoy mini golf, laser tag, and arcades. Visit the Royal Cafe, stocked with a full menu of all the essentials, and 2 full-service bars at each location. Royal Pin Centers are perfect for family outings, an evening hangout, or date night. It's easy. Just reserve your lane online at royalpin.com to skip the line. For more information, call 465-8484 or visit royalpin.com.
Set 'em up, knock 'em down, send them flying, spinning round.
Call 465-8484 or go to royalpin.com.
Royal Pin, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin, bowling.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. In the last year, we've seen our competition double, even triple their delivery charges. Thompson Furniture and Mattress still delivers for free within 75 miles of Columbus. White glove delivery and setup from the best team anywhere, and it's all for free. Whether it's your Lazy Boys, Smith Brothers, Tempur-Pedic, outdoor furniture, it doesn't matter. It's delivered free. Guaranteed best price plus free delivery only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Hey, tennis fans, with the BetRivers.com sportsbook app, you can smash, slice, and spin your way to big tennis paydays. That's because we're serving up the excitement of live in-game betting, where you can bet on all the action, including point-by-point betting from tournaments around the world. Plus, with BetRivers' award-winning customer service, it's game, set, and match. Download the BetRivers.com sportsbook app. It's a whole new game.
Must be 21. Must be located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
Hey there, Jake Query. Looking for something to do this weekend? I've got just the answer for you. You should already be going out to the Marion County Fair. Marion County Fair is fabulous. Of course, it starts up this weekend. So does Circle City Raceway and the fair racing schedule. They've got a huge schedule on tap at Circle City Raceway at the Marion County Fairgrounds. For example, the Dirt Car UMP Modifieds, the Ford Dirt Crown Vics, and the Hornets all going to be racing Friday night. That is tomorrow night, the 24th, out at the Marion County Fair Championships. Then, of course, again, racing again on Saturday. The Dirtcraft Late Models, Dirt UMP Modifieds, all racing. Then Monster Trucks coming up. The Monster Trucks on the 26th. That is Sunday. There's a lot to love about Circle City Raceway because not only is it right there at the Marion County Fairgrounds with the fair going on, which is awesome, but then next Friday night, it's the School Bus Figure Eights. School Bus Figure Eights. Kids absolutely love that, and it's family friendly. Free parking, great food, everything that you want. If you want a weekend of entertainment, you want it right there in the shadows of a fairground, and you want it to know that everybody, kids included, are going to have family-friendly fun, then the Marion County Fairground Circle City Raceway is for you. Check them out, circlecityraceway.com.
Circle K is America's thirst stop. And yours, especially when the weather gets... and you need to stay refreshed on the go with ice-cold Circle K favorites like freshly ground iced coffee, Froster, Polar Pop Cup, and more. Think of it as the ultimate thirst-quenching, totally rehydrating summer splash zone. When life's go, 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 make us your first stop. Because Circle K is America's thirst stop.
Hey, it's JMV here for John and Chris Love. That's Love Heating and Air, 317-353-2141. I would not trust anybody else with my cool and comfort in-house and making sure that my system is running efficiently. If you feel as if yours isn't, 353-2141. Get that checkup from John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air, making sure it doesn't cost you money and you remain cool and comfortable. Love Heating and Air, 317-353-2141 online, love-hvac.com today.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Gregg Doyel is going to join us here in about 5 minutes. Again, the NBA draft, our coverage begins at 7 o'clock tonight. I think officially, I believe 8 o'clock is when the draft starts. And one thing I like about the NBA draft, it does move quicker than the NFL draft. Again, 2 rounds tonight, and that is it. We got a couple callers that have been hanging on for quite a while. Let's start with Connor. Connor, you want to talk about moving up to number 4 and possibly parting ways with Chris Duarte?
Yeah, I saw that report that came out not too long ago. Saw it got quite a bit of buzz. So I thought there might have been something to it. But if I'm the Pacers, I'm doing that all day. As much as I'd hate to depart from Duarte, he's a solid player. I just think if Ivey's that generational talent, that it's hard to come by. He's clearly stated that he wants to be here. It kind of matches up. I'm taking that risk.
Now, was the report, was there another piece to that trade, or was it just Duarte and 6 to get to 4?
No, Brogdon's in there for sure. Yeah. So it was Brogdon, 6, and then Duarte.
See, I think it's a hair rich, Connor. Hear me out. You can move Brogdon for a late lottery pick. So theoretically, you'd be trading 2 lottery picks plus 6 to move up. I'm calling Duarte a lottery pick last year. To move up to 4. I mean, I get you need a star, but, man, I don't know. That's just a little rich for me.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, you got to take those risks. I mean, I think it's been voiced multiple times. You got to swing for the fences.
I've said it.
Yeah, and I think we all have quite a few times. But I just, as much as I hate to say it, it's been knocked on him a couple times. Duarte with him being, he's 24?
Right.
I think. I mean, who's to say the Pacers have voiced that they love a lot of the guys later on in the lottery. I think they'd be 18, 19 years old. I mean, you could probably develop them in the next couple of years. I don't think they'll probably be as good as a defender as Duarte is at that age. Who knows? I don't know. But I just think if Ivey's the guy that you're really clamoring for and you're only 2 spots away and, it's only going to cost you Duarte, Brogdon, and a 6. I think you go with it, and then you find a way to move yourself up, into the top 15 with a second pick, maybe pick another guy and kind of move on from there. So that's my thought on it. I know you got an important call with Gregg coming up, so I don't want to take any of his time.
Thanks, Connor. Great call. Please call again. That was really
radio
good.
discipline on Connor right there.
Yeah, that's.
Oh my God,
far better than us last night, to say the least. There, Jake, your thoughts on that? Again, you're giving up probably 2 lottery picks there. Brogdon, you trade for a lottery pick. Duarte, obviously a lottery pick. And then he wants to get back into the draft. You would then trade Myles Turner, I assume, to get back into the top half. I mean,
listen, I like Duarte a lot. I like what Connor said. I think he's right. I like Duarte a lot. I think he's a really good player. But I think he is, if Chris Duarte is one of your top 3 players, you're a 25-win team. To me, Chris Duarte is a really good. I'm going to use the term Danny Green. Danny Green is just a guy, obviously, that is a shooter. Duarte is far more multi-skill setted than that. But Danny Green has been a really good 6th man for really good teams. And he gets 18 to 20 minutes a game of quality minutes. That's what I see in Chris Duarte. And so he is somewhat expendable, but I like the thought of him on a team that has younger players around him moving forward and being a compliment to those guys.
Again, our draft coverage will begin at 7. JMV is going to be live from District Tap in Castleton, a great spot there leading up to the Pacers draft party, which is tonight, as this is probably the most exciting night really the franchise has had since that Cleveland 7-game series a handful of years ago. All right, Gregg Doyel going to join us next.
O'Reilly. Get ready for summer vacation now at O'Reilly Auto Parts with up to a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase select Superstart batteries. With the power, performance, and reliability your vehicle demands, Superstart batteries are made to deliver long life and consistent starts. Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Ready to drink cocktails are the hottest thing on the market, and Payless Liquors is your source for premium RTDs at low prices. All Payless stores have Chi-Chi's Margarita cocktails for only 99 cents. On the Rocks are $2.99. Hugh Blind drinks in the 200 milliliter size are $4.99. Bowls 200s are $5.99, and Mom Water's only $8.99. Plus Bud Light and Coors Light 12-ounce 18 packs are $14.99 at all 26 family-owned Payless Liquor locations, proving when Charlie says sell it, you don't pay more, you get more at Payless Liquors.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Honoring the pursuit of brews and barrel-aged bourbon every Wednesday at the Bourbon and Brews Party. Get to Twin Peaks from 5 to 7 to experience a lingerie costume party paired with exceptional bourbons, tastings, and giveaways. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Hey, it's JMV for Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. Have you ever been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Were you prescribed a CPAP machine that you stopped using? Have you been affected by the recent CPAP recall? If the answer is yes, you need to visit Aurora Sleep right now. Aurora treats sleep apnea with custom-made oral devices. Simple, custom, it is quiet. And it worked for me. It can work for you. StopYourSnoreNow.com for the private consultation today. The Aurora Specialty Sleep Clinic. StopYourSnoreNow.com.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Again, a reminder tonight, J&B will be at District Tap, Northside District Tap location, leading up to the draft party, so it'd be a lot of fun out there. Gregg Doyel set to join us in just a second. One quick house cleaning note just came out. For those that are interested, Felix Rosenquist, it is announced for Arrow McLaren Racing, will be retained by the team for next season. They are evaluating whether that means he will be running for them in their E-Series, which I think is a high possibility, or whether he will be part of their 3-car or expected to be 3-car stable within the NTT IndyCar Series. But he will be with the team in some capacity next year.
That is a busy offseason, I guess in season, preparing for the offseason for Arrow McLaren this year. All right, let's head to the Payless Liquors hotline. Gregg Doyel, the columnist for the Indianapolis Star, is with us. Greg, your lead in your latest column, well, I guess I should say I believe it's your latest. Take one last look at these Indiana Pacers, because by this time Friday, the franchise will be unrecognizable. You mean what?
I mean, they're going to change their team colors, and they're going to start calling themselves the Bullets and say, the hell with you, you woke crowd. We're going with
Boomer's gone?
We don't care. Boomer's gone. They're going to have just a big AK. It's going to be their new mascot. No, it's a joke. And it's really not very funny. So it's going to be unrecognizable. And they're in the process. They've been doing this for a while. We've seen this. The Pacers, they've always been like these things. From 10 to 14, they were this thing with a good thing with Hibbert and West and George Rising and George Hill. They were that thing. And then in the last 2-3 years, they've been this other thing with this other core that, Oladipo became LeVert, but this core of 4 or 5 guys, Sabonis, the Turbonis core. They're about to be they're in the process of transitioning. We've been seeing that, but they're about to be a whole new thing after tonight, because they're going to add, conservatively speaking, I'm being conservative. They're going to add either 2 of the top 11 picks in the draft or a number 6 pick and a very, very good young ascending guard in the NBA. They're going to have at least 2 new pieces tonight, brand new, at least 2. And that's me being conservative, because Brogdon's gone. He's getting traded during the draft. We all think we know that. He's gone, so he's bringing something in. And when I say I'm being conservative, that's because Myles Turner's gone too. The question is he gone tonight, or is he gone in a month or so? So imagine if they trade both Brogdon and Turner tonight. You talk about unrecognizable. It's going to be Halliburton and Isaiah Jackson and Duarte, and then whatever happens tonight. It's very exciting.
Greg, can part of that, can we perhaps get a forecast of that, and I agree with you about Brogdon, for example, and I'm going to throw a name that I am equally as lukewarm on as you, so don't laugh at me here. If they take Shaedon Sharpe 6th overall,
sorry. Something's choking in my neck. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jake. Keep going.
If they do that, the only, to me, in other words, if I hear Adam Silver come out and say Shaedon Sharpe is going to the Indiana Pacers, when I hear that, if I were to hear that, what I would immediately say is, okay, they've got big time moves coming, because there's no way they take that guy if that's their only pick in the top 30. They have to have something else. So, in other words, I would think that they go, if for some reason we hear a wild card pick at 6, that tells us to strap in. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, and that's really smart, because what that would mean, I don't know if this is what you're saying, but to me what that would mean is somebody who can afford to let Shaedon Sharpe develop.
Correct. That's what I mean. That's the only way you take him there, right?
Right. Whether it's not Gold State, but somebody really good that doesn't need him right now, but can't trade up and get him, says to the Pacers, you draft Shaedon Sharpe for us, just like the Pacers drafted, I hate even saying this, Kawhi Leonard to give him away. I hope that doesn't happen again with Sharpe, although the hell with him. I don't care what he becomes. I'm not happy with him. But, yeah, I can see them drafting Shaedon Sharpe for somebody else, but that meaning, and hopefully they'll get more in return than George Hill or whatever it is we got for Kawhi Leonard here a couple years ago. That's a really good idea. I think that's very, very smart. But I will tell you, if that doesn't happen right away, because I've got to write tonight. I've got to write the danger's and going a little bit too strong. But the danger of being a deadline opinion writer, not just a writer, but opinion writer, is you can only write about what you know at that exact moment. And my boss at CBS used to always tell me, because I would go so strong, so hard all the time. He would say, try to have this story stand the test of time. Try to anticipate what might happen, because I would never do that. I would just write, here's what I think right now, and I'm whatever I am. And in a week and a half, this is going to look stupid, but right now it feels good. So I hope that if they do that, Jake, they make that trade at the same time, because otherwise I'm going to crush everybody. I might even go after Carson Wentz again if they draft Shaedon Sharpe. I'll be so mad.
He's Gregg Doyel from the Indianapolis Star, and sounds like in that Uber with Carson Wentz to the airport, it could be Shaedon Sharpe and Kevin Pritchard if that is indeed the move tonight. He's with us here.
I love KP, though. I'm sorry, but I do love him.
He's with us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Greg, Jaden Ivey, the last game of his collegiate career did not go well. There were body language questions, in my opinion, that were very fair. A couple of months have passed. I've probably let that, just kind of settle a little bit. Is it fair to have those St. Peter's concerns for a team taking him at 3 or 4? Or do you think that was a maturation moment and Jaden Ivey is going to be an incredible NBA player?
I've never written this before, and I would only not that because I didn't think it was fair or whatever. I just didn't come up. It didn't. I sit down to write a story and I don't know what's coming out. This has never come out before, but if the Pacers draft Jaden Ivey tonight, it'll probably come out. So I'll tell you now. NBA teams and NFL teams. I'm going back years when I was at Charlotte Observer. Actually, they call people like me. And I don't mean me. I mean people like me, people that have covered people. Like I was called about. Literally, I was called by the Green Bay Packers 20 years ago when I was at Charlotte Observer, and I forget. Oh no, I don't know who it was. They called me about Ishmael Muhammad. You remember him at Georgia Tech?
Yep.
Basketball player.
Yeah.
They knew I'd written about him several times. The Packers, whoever the guy was, 25 years ago, whenever they called me, want to know is he a pro tight end? And that's just one example, and I'm going to give you that one because 25 years ago, and whoever called me, I'm sure, is long gone. It wasn't the famous guy, Wolf. It wasn't him. Anyway, people call me, okay? I've been called about Jaden Ivey. I've been called about Jaden Ivey from somebody in the draft. And I don't mean our local team, okay? I wouldn't, if it was the Pacers, I wouldn't be telling you this. They call. I've been called and asked about him. What kind of guy is he? What kind of does he? I was asked specifically, does Jaden Ivey love the game? Do you think? And I told him to be very fair to Jaden Ivey. I said I don't know. I said I don't know but they'd written. I'm sorry, they'd read what I wrote after the St. Peter's game, and I saw what you saw. And frankly, down the stretch, the last several games, and I'm sure there's exceptions, but the last several games, he was different. He was different, and I think. And to a certain point, you have to understand it. It doesn't mean you want to draft a guy, but you have to understand that as the season's going on, and he clearly is rising through the high lottery. And he's a top 10 pick, top 8, top 7, top 5, and the season's rolling wrong, and the offense is going through Trevion Williams' hands, or it's doing whatever it is it's doing. And Jaden Ivey would have games where he would take 7 shots. He was not happy. He was very clear that Purdue was sailing towards a Final Four berth if they were, if they maximized their potential. It didn't happen. But they were that good. And you could tell that Jaden Ivey wanted his. And, I mean, it was obvious. And I liked him very much, and I can still like him going forward. He's not Shaedon Sharpe to me, but that was obvious. And an NBA team noticed it and called me and asked me about it. And I told him about that, but I also told him I could be wrong. This is what I wrote. You read what I wrote. The world can read what I wrote. I don't know that he wanted his, but I wrote that he wanted his because that's what I saw. So long story to tell you, there are concerns about Jaden Ivey around the league because it's like cockroaches. If one person has a question or a thought or an idea, they're not the only one. So if you see one cockroach in your kitchen, that's not the only one. So I don't know. Anyway, you're fair. Very fair, Kevin, to ask that question.
Let me ask you this, Greg. I think we have a general idea who the Pacers would take at 6, whether it's, there are 3 or 4 players, right? Keegan Murray, Benedict Mathurin, Dyson Daniels, who I personally think it's going to be, that maybe that's a reach. What we haven't talked about is who they would target if they had a second lottery pick.
I did.
What position, what player do you think it would be?
Sorry, I'm a blurter. Jake, you know this. I'm a blurter. I was that person in school. Boy, you would have hated me, as if you don't hate me now. You'd have hated me in school because I was in school when they have kids go around reading out loud. Like, okay, it's your turn to read, or your turn to
reading.
No, I remember what it was. We would be doing a play, and it was you're playing this person, you're that person, and the whole class has a role, and so we read the play out loud, right? Well, I was the kid, and I can still remember this, going back a long, long time. I was the kid that I had my role, and if whatever line was coming up, if they didn't say it within about a half second, I was saying it for them. Just like when you're the red light, and the second it turns green, I'm not honking at you. I'm not that guy, but there are people that will honk at you behind you the second it turns green. I was that guy in class, and I'm that guy on the radio, so I'm really sorry. You can see now why no one ever has given me a show. But the truth of the matter is, Dyson Daniels is a reach, and I forgot what you asked, but now I remember. Johnny Davis, I wrote in my story today, if they get to 11 or 10, because I truly think, and listen, Wojbaum dropped this. I'm not that smart. But Wojbaum has said the Knicks and the Wizards at 10 and 11 in some form, one of them is going to want Brogdon badly because one of them is going to want to trade up to get him from Sacramento. So whoever doesn't get Brogdon is going to get him at 10 or 11. I'm sorry, he's going to trade that pick to the Pacers to get him. So that pick will be Johnny Davis because I think he'll still be there. So anyway, that's what I think. I think this is what I think. But Keegan Murray's going to be gone. I think Daniels is a reach because he can't shoot well enough. He might be great, but he can't shoot well enough. So I think it's Mathurin at 6. And either Johnny Davis or AJ Griffin will be there at 11. They'll do one of those two.
You know what's interesting to me, Greg, is Malcolm Brogdon is a guy that, look, when he's played for Indiana, he's played well, but he hasn't played a lot recently, right? What is it about him that other teams how did he suddenly become a coveted piece?
Well, it's never that he's not played, and he's played well enough. His averages with the Pacers, which I think you got to look at that because with the Pacers away from Giannis, he's had the ball in his hands more, and no one talking about acquiring him. Granted, the Wizards have Beal. I mean, they have good talent, but nobody has Giannis that's trying to acquire Brogdon, so he'll have the ball in his hands a whole lot. And here, he averaged something like 20 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. And he hasn't quite been the 90, 50, 40 shooter he was at when in Milwaukee, but he's an 85, 45, 35 shooter at worst. So there's a lot there to like about him, and he's flexible. He can be your point guard. He can be your shooting guard. Now, is he going to be your starting point guard or shooting guard on a team that's going to beat the Warriors? No, but the team's trying to acquire him or just trying to get up and out of the lottery and into the playoffs. And he is good enough to be a point guard on a team with talent that can go to playoffs. He's a good enough shooter to be a shooting guard on that team. So there's a reason teams, and he's young enough, and he's under his contract. I don't know how many years left, maybe just one, but he's affordable enough and under contract enough that you can acquire him and think you can afford him and then afford to extend him.
Jake, should I be worried that my draft crush is the guy that Gregg Doyel just said the Pacers should and will take at number 6?
That's if he's there at 6. Greg, there's the possibility he could be gone at 5 in Mathurin, right?
There is. I mean, there's talk that, yes, that he goes 5 and Keegan. But listen, if that's what happens, that means Keegan Murray's there at 6. And I'm not the only reason I'm not saying they're going to take Keegan Murray is because I don't think he'll be there. I think if he's there.
So you take Murray over Mathurin? Yeah,
I would. And I might be very sorry about that. I feel like Mathurin, and I've seen a lot more of Murray than Mathurin in person. And so, what I don't want to be is that guy that comes on the radio or that guy that writes for a blog or whatever that has seen a bunch of YouTube videos and thinks he knows or thinks she knows. We don't know, okay? Until you lay eyes on people, you just don't know. There's so many players I've seen my own 2 eyes and gone, oh, you're better than I thought, or oh, you're not what I thought. So I haven't seen Mathurin in person, but I feel like his measurables, the shooting he did as a freshman at least, his ceiling is higher than Keegan Murray, but the same because Keegan Murray scares me. When I think of it, his floor, I think, please tell me you're not Evan Turner. I don't think he is.
I feel like, Greg, you tell me if this is off base of me. And this is not a knock on Keegan Murray. I think he's a fine talent. For whatever reason, I feel like Keegan Murray, among the players that we've discussed, is the one that has shown the closest to where his ceiling is. Like, in other words, you might have the best stability of what you're getting, but you're getting a $1 bill, and with other guys that can turn into a $5 bill in 3 years. And in Keegan Murray, it's like you're getting a solid $1 bill that might be $1.50 in 3 years. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I don't know about that because in a lot of these cases, these guys a lot of them are sophomores already, and they made a huge jump. Now Mathurin actually took a small step back. Granted, he was Pac-12 Player of the Year, but his shooting took a small step back once he got more defensive attention. So we've seen him in 2 years. We've seen Keegan Murray in 2 years. We've seen Johnny Davis in 2 years. And Davis and Murray specifically made huge jumps to year 2, which suggests there is more there. Mathurin's jump was actually smaller, even though, again, he was Pac-12 Player of the Year. Whereas Dyson Daniels, we don't know. That if you're trying to draft somebody where you just kind of don't know if you know the ceiling yet, Dyson Daniels is the guy because we don't know his ceiling. But I do think Keegan Murray, his jump, much like Johnny Davis, was so big from year 1 to year 2. I have a hard time believing that was almost all of it. I think there's just no way you made that much improvement and it's all gone. I think there's going to be more. But he is 6'8", a great athlete, a smooth shooter. I think one of the problems with Keegan, if we're going to look at problems, or the reasons why we think there's a problem, is he's too smooth. He makes it look too easy. He's not the athlete, I don't think he is, of Paul George. He's not that long. But kind of like Paul George just makes it look so easy, you kind of think you're just gliding. Keegan just kind of smooth, only he's about 30 pounds heavier than Paul George. But I like Keegan Murray a lot, and I would take him because maybe he's not going to be all NBA first or second team. Maybe he's not. but I feel really positive he's going to be like better than Duarte, significantly better than Duarte, and Duarte's good. I'm saying that if your floor is even better than that guy coming in, you can't go wrong with that.
Gregg Doyel from the Indianapolis Stars with us here again, the Payless Liquors hotline. Last one for me, Greg. I hate that there are events that it takes those sort of tragic things to happen in life for you to kind of be at your best, but I thought you were at your best earlier this week with your Caleb Swanigan. I don't know if tribute is the right word, but it kind of felt like that reading it. Did you have a particular anecdote that you felt like stood out the most about talking to people about Caleb Swanigan?
Yeah, I mean, a couple, but I think in real time, what strikes me about that story, and maybe only journalists will understand this, but there's so much attention paid to Woj bombs, and we care so much about who breaks the news. On transactional things, they're going to happen in 5 minutes anyway. Does it really matter? But Biggie's death, a handful of us knew about it before it was public, and none of us wanted to write it. We didn't want it to be real. We didn't want to get retweeted like, "Hey, everybody, look at the scoop I have." We didn't want it. We wanted it was like I wanted no part of it. I called Purdue, Chris Foreman, and told him what I knew, and he said, "Yeah, it was true." And I said, "Would you guys please put this out as soon as you can, because people are talking about it and the word's spreading and nobody wants to write this. So if it's real, you need to make it real for us." And then yeah, it was hard. And I the other two anecdotes I'll give real quick, and I wrote, they're both in the story, but they're, I don't claim to know him great. Like I know a lot of players decently well. Caleb, but he was so quiet. And he wasn't like that, but going and watching the Purdue before their final college game the day before the workout, and players are getting interviewed at the lockers, and he's not getting into the interviews locker. He's on a training bike in like a wrestling sweatsuit, trying to keep the weight off. Even back then, I mean, full-time athlete, 20 years old, great genetic. I mean, great metabolism, you'd think, and he still was working out like a wrestler, cutting weight, just because that's what he was faced with. That was what he was faced with. There are people that we see that are heavy in the world that. And I've been there before, where you're heavy because you don't work out and you don't eat too much. But then there are some people, it's just genetics. Like some people, genetic mental illness is genetics. Addiction is genetics. For some people, obesity is genetics, and he had it. And so that's one. The other one is that we've all been to. Well, a lot of us have been to Mackey Arena. They got that great hype video. That great hype video where they quote Rick Mount, they quote Gene Cady, and they quote Biggie saying a few words, and Biggie's comments come right after Gene Cady's face appears, and the crowd cheers because there's Cady, and the crowd's cheering, and then Biggie is almost whispering, and you can't hear him. Yeah, I haven't heard him yet what he said. I've been there 30 times. I have no idea what he says, and to me that's perfect. The crowd's cheering. Biggie is this giant that's so soft spoken you can't hear what he's saying. I think that's Biggie. That's Biggie.
Yeah, it was. Greg, it was one of those stories that is so sad and so tragic because of where he had been and what he had overcome. And I think that we feel like we were deprived of the storybook ending, but maybe in totality, the storybook ending was the fact that he made it out, right? And yeah, he got sucked back in, I guess, or his body did, but I thought you did a good job of just capturing kind of all of that and encompassing all that went into the fact that athletes are more than what we see on the floor, right? I mean, they have struggles just like the rest of us.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to. That's so important. Yes, his ending was way too soon, and for reasons that I think, honestly, that thought has occurred to me about him when I was watching him play. Like, I wonder what's going to happen when he retires. I thought. So, I mean, you kind of could see it coming, but you could see it coming because you already knew that you'd beaten the odds. Like, this is.
Right.
You really, you shouldn't be here, and this is a victory that you're here, and this is wonderful that you're here, and yes, the last story about you is not going to be happy, but the fact that you made it from there to here, if the story could have ended right there, that's a movie. It's Hoosiers. I mean, his comeback story was, he homeless under a bridge, obese in 7th grade to that. I mean, that's impossible. That doesn't happen in real life, but Biggie made it happen, and I think that should be celebrated, and I hope it was.
Now, no pressure, Greg, but tonight during the draft, as the Pacers are making moves, just remember you have to write something that stands the test of time.
Man, if it's Shaedon Sharpe, I'll fail that test. And I'll fail it halfway.
You and me both. I already got killed this morning for it, Greg. We're on the same page on that.
Firing up the Carson Wentz Uber, Gregg Doyel.
By the way, Greg, one other thing, Greg, before we let you go. About a week ago, you did send out a tweet that was very complimentary of Kevin and I and John, and I wanted to I haven't talked to you since then, so I wanted to thank you for it. It was unnecessary, but it was appreciated.
Yeah, I know a lot of changes are happening there, and I care about you three people greatly, and I think you three do a great job for our city. I think you try and keep us all together and build us positively, and I think in this world, we're either trying to hurt the world or trying to help the world. For selfish reasons or unselfish reasons, you three, you're trying to help, and I mean, we can all see what's happening. We all know. So I appreciate you three, and I'm sure you'll be fine. Talent and big hearts like yours, they always win. So I'll be listening to you for a long time.
I appreciate that, Greg.
Appreciate it.
Gregg Doyel right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. Pop quiz is coming up. Some NBA draft flavor, right, Scotty? On today's pop quiz and a little bit of baseball. Scotty literally looks like he's sitting front row at District Tap tonight for the Pacers draft party.
He's ready for the party, baby.
He's ready. We are ready. 7 o'clock coverage, 8 o'clock. The Pacers number 6 overall as we sit here less than 12 hours away from the NBA draft. Let's hit a morning check down.
The Morning Checkdown. Brought to you by QC Kinetics. Relieving your joint pain at QCkinetics.com. On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Stanley Cup final. The Colorado Avalanche one win away now from hoisting Lord Stanley Cup as they defeated, I think, what was it? What was the final score last night?
3-2.
3-2 in overtime.
We were at the fan cave, so I didn't.
It's actually Lord Stanley's Cup, not Lord Stanley Cup.
What did I say?
Lord Stanley.
It's Lord Stanley's Cup, right?
Apostrophe S.
The apostrophe that should be the S that should be in finals.
Mark,
it's just final and then Lord Stanley's Cup, right? Because he owns it. So the winning team just gets to borrow it and drink beer out of it, and then it goes
now,
back to
which
Lord
Lord
Stanley,
owns
right?
it?
Stanley. Thank you for asking.
Mark, why? Major League Baseball yesterday. The
Pop quiz question 4, Mark.
Yep,
individual performance of the day for the second day in a row was Shohei Ohtani. He had 8 RBIs on Tuesday as a batter, and as a pitcher last night, 13 strikeouts in 7 innings. Just an incredible talent. He is, besides that, the Reds stink. The Cubs put up 14 on the Pirates. Good job there, Mark.
They won't score another run the rest of the week.
The Guardians had a late rally to beat the Twinkies. And Jake, in the College World Series, it's Oklahoma awaiting the winner of Ole Miss and Arkansas.
And Oklahoma is undefeated, so whoever advances to play them is going to have to beat them twice, right?
Yeah, yet to trail in the College World Series. As we mentioned, tonight, 8 o'clock, the NBA draft gets underway. We heard from Jaden Ivey earlier, a little bit of Keegan Murray as well. Let's save the best for last. My draft crush, Ben Mathurin, right here on seeing himself playing for the Pacers.
The Pacers was great. You know, I got the chance to meet a lot of people, the players, and Coach Rick, obviously. And I mean, I see myself as, you know, fitting there. You know, Tyrese is a great point guard. Myles Turner, you know, one of the greatest shot blocker in the game right now. And you know, just Coach Rick really being a great coach. I see myself going over there for sure.
It sounds like a nice fella. I like that he calls him Coach Rick.
Coach Rick. It's got a good ring to it, doesn't it?
It does.
Little Montreal accent, little hint of a Canadian accent.
Yeah,
can you hear
for sure.
that in there? And then moved to Mexico when he was 16. Was down there for a couple of years before moving on to Arizona, where he played not only for Sean Miller, but also Tommy Lloyd. Came over from Gonzaga. A lot of praise for what Tommy Lloyd did, putting him in an NBA system, and I think that is another attractive aspect to Ben Mathurin's game. All right, it is pop quiz time. Jake, have you taken a look at it?
I have. Fairly manageable, right?
I've not had a winner this week, have we?
These are easy, actually.
You keep saying that, and then you give like 4 hints.
No, this is easy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through it, Jake. I think I agree with you.
Yeah, it's very doable.
Wow. Scotty.
By the way, Jiffy Lube, who is the sponsor, of course, of the pop quiz,
Correct.
your chance to win a Jiffy Lube oil change. Jiffy Lube also has a really cool thing. You can go on their website to check it out. But Jiffy Lube is honoring people who use their vehicle to help out people throughout, like in a work capacity, that are doing what they can to help, you know, Hoosiers out, and people who use their car to become heroes, to deliver goods, things like that. Jiffy Lube is selecting those who are nominated to give them free car maintenance for a year to make sure that folks are still on the road to help out other Hoosiers.
Nice.
Which is very cool from
That
Jiffy Lube.
is really cool.
So their commitment to customer service is great. Their commitment to Hoosier service is even better.
I love that. Jiffy Lube prize pack up for grabs. 317-239-1070. Pop quiz time.
Real quick, I found audio of Kevin talking about Ben Mathurin.
I'm crazy about you. I've never felt this way about anybody. Listen to me. I feel like a schoolboy again. A schoolboy who desperately wants to make sweet, sweet love to you.
All right. Easy.
But you need to get locked
That's
into
not
today.
awkward.
Visit thehomeloan.com.
Make sure you listen to The Ride with JMV this week. He'll give away tickets to see Post Malone at Gaybridge Fieldhouse on October 2nd.
IMI concrete delivery drivers make an average of $65,000 per year. Explore a rewarding career with exceptional benefits at driveimi.com/Indiana.
Hey, are you a single professional man looking for a life mate? If your do-it-yourself approach for finding her isn't getting you the results you want, why not hire a pro, like me, so you can take your game to a new level? I'm Amy Owen, singles coach and matchmaker. Maybe you've been looking for a while, or maybe you're newly divorced or widowed and haven't had a date in years, even decades. I can offer you tips, strategies, and introductions to some of Indy's finest single women. These ladies are active, attractive, fit, smart, accomplished, and financially self-sufficient. The only thing missing from their lives is the love and companionship of a good man. If that's you, please give me a call at 317-727-6331. That's 727-6331. Or check out my website, blueribbonsingles.com. Why Blue Ribbon Singles? Because it's the winners who get the blue ribbon.
Hi, it's Bob from Royal Spa. Soaking in a hot tub full of Epsom salts is the absolute best way to minimize everyday aches and pains. And we know all about Epsom salts at Royal Spa. Royal Spa hot tubs are the only hot tubs on the market that can safely and effectively use Epsom salts. Made right here in Indiana, Royal Spa hot tubs are the highest quality hot tubs on the market. Visit any one of our 3 Indianapolis locations or visit royalspa.com.
Ah, Royal Spa.
Mortgage interest rates have started to drop, but you need to get locked in today. Visit thehomeloanexpert.com. Home of the 10-day closing guarantee. NMLS number 1326241.
We're the most active season of the year right now, but if you have joint pain, you can't live like you want to. Whether it's heading to the zoo, walking on the canal, attending an Indians game, hip pain, knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, it sucks the fun out of living. I'm Kevin Bowen, and I've got some fantastic news for you, though. QC Kinetics is helping the people get the fun back with advanced regenerative treatments from local professionals right here in Indy locations in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. We're talking regenerative medicine. It's the hottest thing going. It's basically a growth factors with healing properties from your own body, highly concentrated, then putting them into your aching joints. It's exciting. In-office, non-surgical treatment can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints, giving you real, lasting relief from pain. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in these cutting-edge, all-natural options, and the patient satisfaction reports are incredible. Yes, you can get real relief from pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. So call QC Kinetics 463-235-7160. Again, locations in Eagle Creek and Greenwood.
Sports with Dan Dockich.
Rob Dibble.
If Barry Larkin played for the New York Yankees, he would have blown Derek Jeter out.
Right.
And, first 30-30 shortstop, the way that Barry covered ground, the one thing that they said the last 10 years about Jeter, well, he can't cover ground. His range is not that good. Now, it was still great, and he's a Hall of Famer, but he's not going to be a Hall of Famer on Kansas City. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer on the Twins.
Dan Dockich, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
My apologies, by the way. Thank you, Matt, for clarifying this. The College World Series, guys, is determined by a best-of-3 series between the winner's bracket, which is Oklahoma, and the loser's bracket. So even if Arkansas or Ole Miss, whichever one advances, even though they have a loss in the tournament, Oklahoma would have to beat them twice.
Yeah, basically you've got a top bracket and a bottom bracket.
Gotcha.
A team emerges from each one, and it's a best-of-3 series Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
So the previous
Omaha.
record
throw it out the window.
Throws out. Okay.
Yeah. Hell of an
Thank you,
accomplishment
Matt.
so far by Oklahoma. But yeah, it is a best of 3 series starting on Saturday. Jake, this is manageable. Yeah, Scotty, you can tell he's excited for tonight. Probably didn't have enough. He probably had to pick out that outfit and just didn't have enough time to spend on the pop quiz. So
Scotty is ready for the draft.
this is manageable. A number 1 through 8. Should we go with number 6 because that is the Pacers selection tonight?
Yes, that makes sense.
Aaron.
What's up, Aaron?
How's it going?
Yeah, Aaron, we're doing okay. How about yourself?
Better than I deserve.
What does that mean?
Well, that's not a saying you hear too often. I kind of like that one, Aaron.
That's a positive approach, Aaron. Aaron, you sound like a nice fella. Are you a native to the Indianapolis area?
Yes, sir. Grew up on the west side.
Okay, and you Ben Davis guy, Avon?
Speedway.
Speedway. Oh, Spark Plugs. What year did you graduate from Speedway?
2010.
Oh, so you're a younger fella. Okay. And Aaron, if you don't mind me asking, what line of work are you in?
In the construction field.
Okay,
Now,
that's cool.
Aaron, if I remember correctly, and we're kind of taking a left turn here, Speedway had that guy that went to play football at Notre Dame, and then he kind of got involved with some extracurricular activities, I believe, in the adult film side of things. Am I correct in that?
I believe you are. He was a little younger than I was, but, well, I guess we'll leave that anonymous.
Yeah.
You know, at Speedway, they like left turns, so you're cool, right? No issue.
That was good. That was good. Yeah.
All right, Aaron, are you ready for? Would you like for myself or for Kevin to lead you through the pop quiz here?
Let's go with it, Jake.
Okay. Question number 1 for you, Aaron. The NBA draft takes place tonight in Brooklyn, New York. The trend has been for college freshmen to be selected with the number 1 overall pick in recent NBA drafts. Who was the last player taken number 1 overall who had not just completed his freshman year of college basketball? I will tell you, by the way, that one of my favorite questions ever is Kenny Martin is the last 4-year player. So this is the last multi-year player in college to be selected number 1 overall. Was it Anthony Bennett, Blake Griffin, Andrea Bargnani, or LeBron James?
Blake Griffin.
Okay.
Kind of some wild answers Scotty threw on there for number 1. Number 2, in the common era of the NBA draft, Aaron, which began in 1966, only one player not drafted in the first round was honored as NBA Rookie of the Year. And if you've listened to the show this week, yeah. Name him. Brandon Roy, Buck Williams, Dave Cowens, or Malcolm Brogdon?
I missed this one. I'm just going to go with Malcolm Brogdon because he's here.
Okay. Question number 3. The Pacers tonight drafting 6th overall. Name the last player that the Pacers selected with a pick earlier than 6th. Was it Chuck Person, Rick Smits, George McLeod, or Reggie Miller? Duncan
McLeod.
Dutchman. McLeod? Is that your guess?
I think I just missed your hint, but yeah.
Okay.
Dutchman.
Giving out hints, you said it was easy.
Okay, the final answer is which one?
The Duncan Dutchman.
Which is which player?
Repeat the option.
Oh boy. Aaron, Chuck Person, Rick Smits, George McLeod, or Reggie Miller?
All right.
Who?
Let's go Rick Smits.
Man. The internet, who is the Dunking Dutchman? Do you think it finally...
Actually, I think that's a nickname of his old classmate from Speedway, is it not?
Well, yeah. You can call him a lot of things, probably. All right, Aaron Judge hit a pair of solo homers as the Yankees edged the Rays yesterday. It was Judge's 6th multi-home run game and the Yankees' first 70 games this season. Name the last Yankee to have 6 multi-home run games within the team's first 70 games of a season. Judge, Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, Roger Maris.
Mickey Mantle.
Okay, last question. 19 years ago today, this player, whose head is 19 times bigger than it was at the time, became the first Major League player in history to hit 500 home runs and steal 500 bases in a career. Name this former Pittsburgh Pirate and San Francisco Giant.
Barry Bonds.
Okay.
Speaking of large heads, did you like my Alexander Rossi, Jake Query analogy last night?
That was really good.
That was solid. And I like Rossi, too, so that's good.
And I love that Kansas picture. It's an outstanding picture. The quality, though, not quite HD back in that day. Although
I don't know how you found that. That was solid.
Did a little digging, but was able to find it. All right, let's see how Aaron did on today's pop quiz. The last player taking number 1 overall who had not just completed his freshman year of college basketball. He said Blake Griffin.
That is correct.
It's a long time.
Good reasoning from Aaron for question number 2 because Malcolm Brogdon was also correct. Let's
go! Number 3, again, don't know how great of service he had, but once the internet started working and the Google of who is the dunking Dutchman was answered, he did go with the last player the Pacers selected with a pick earlier than 6, number 2 overall in 1988, Jake.
Rick Spitz was indeed correct.
Correcto.
And then things kind of went awry. It was Babe Ruth for question number 4. Barry Bonds was correct for question number 5.
You don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser.
Well, it was fun while it lasted.
Mark loves that one.
I do love that one.
That'll be a great pop quiz question like a year from now of what player was he talking about.
Who was he referring to?
Yeah.
Who's got final say tonight in that room? Carlisle or Pritchard?
Well, ultimately, the final say is Pritchard. Ultimately. But
is there a but in there?
The final say is Kevin Pritchard. He is the one. Kevin Pritchard is the one. It's in his handwriting.
His job would be on the line.
I would say
Carlisle could have a heavy hand in suggesting who he would like.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it'll be Pritchard handing in the card.
I would say the ears are a little bit more open to Rick Carlisle than they were to Nate Bjorkgren.
That is correct.
For that draft. We'll recap everything draft related, set you up for tonight, the latest on the top 3 picks. We'll do that next here. Kevin and Query one final time on draft night.
Sip and save at Circle K with our great new drink subscription. Join Sip and Save today and enjoy 1 drink a day every day for just $5.99 a month. Enjoy your favorite Circle K ice cold fountain drink, Froster, or freshly ground coffee every day. That's 30 drinks a month for only $5.99. So sip and save at Circle K. Sign up in store or at CircleK.com. Circle K, take it easy.
Hey, it's JMV for Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing, 317-284-9526. Online, that's ldsmithplumbing.com. The best in plumbing with this deal for you. If you're having a problem with the main drain and sewage backing up in your house, LD Smith Plumbing will come out and clear it, or it's free. That's LD Smith Plumbing, the number 317-284-9526. They'll clear it, or it's free. With LD Smith Plumbing, more information online, ldsmithplumbing.com.
Experience the first annual IKEA Midsummer Celebration this weekend. Join us on June 24th to the 26th for food samplings, great offers, and more. And as an IKEA family member, you can save $20 in store when you spend $200 or more pre-tax and scan your IKEA family card. Visit IKEA-USA.com/midsummer for more information and to plan your trip to your local store starting June 24th. Offer valid 6/24 to 7/4 in the U.S. Discount applied proportionally across items purchased as shown on receipt. See store and IKEA-USA.com/midsummer for complete terms. Exclusions apply.
Life's full of unexpected joys, like problems with water. That's why there's Michaelis, a crew of 24/7 experts who are rescue ready, day or night, one phone call, for a gazillion disasters. Over 3 decades of restoring your home or business to better than new condition. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Nobody knows the NBA draft better than Jimmy. Join him today. He is filling in for me. Also, nobody knows more about the Yankees. I'm guessing you hear about both today, noon to 3.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
NBA draft is tonight. Again, our coverage at 7 o'clock
JMV will be live at District Tap in Castleton, leading into the Pacers draft party, which will follow at that same location. And then the NBA draft will begin, I believe, 8 o'clock, so when Orlando will be on the clock. And what's the latest, guy? Is it Vegas says Banchero, Woj says Jabari Smith?
Okay, I'm looking right now.
Is it back on the books?
No, you can't select. Those guys are all off the board on the one I'm looking at for everything. Now, you can still draft. What?
I've got updated ones. So Jabari Smith, now to be the number one overall pick, is minus 6,000.
Oh, my God.
Paolo Banchero, plus 600. Chet Holmgren, plus 2,000. Jaden Ivey, plus 20,000.
That is absurd how much has changed from the start of the show.
Yeah.
All because of a Woj tweet.
Mm-hmm. Ivy, Sharpe, Keegan Murray, all plus 20,000.
So what I've always heard is that I have no idea how accurate this is. And I think this was before he was with ESPN. So things are probably a little bit more formalized now. But my understanding is that when Adrian Wojnarowski, who was he originally with? Was it Yahoo?
I believe so, yep. Mm-hmm.
That when teams made moves, they had to, and you're going to laugh when I say this, they had to fax in the paperwork to the league office. And that Wojnarowski had a source that worked within that division of when the faxes would come in that would tip him. And I got that, pretty reliably. And I know that sounds antiquated, but
with the NFL draft, Jake, there's a website that each team has a password for, and that's where the picks get updated. And I would say that website is probably 4 to 5 minutes ahead of TV. So if that password gets leaked to a Rappaport, an Albert Breer, a Schefter, whoever, boom, they've got all the picks, 3 or 4 minutes early,
right,
every single time. I get there's like a broadcast element, ESPN is, and I believe, doesn't ABC also have the draft tonight, if I'm not mistaken? There's a little bit of a, hey, man, stay off Twitter a little bit, and Woj kind of plays the game of, I'm hearing that they have heavy interest in this player.
Correct.
He kind of does that a little bit as well. Jake is probably, I don't know, I would assume you agree with me on this, but, and we're putting on our media hats a little bit here. I mean, Woj gets paid to break news.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I have no issue with him tweeting. I saw Alex Golden, who we have on earlier. Don't ruin the draft. He gets paid to break news. Not everybody is fully watching the draft every single minute, so I have no issue whatsoever with Woj doing that, and it's just kind of part of the media cycle we are in 2022.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I mean, I totally get it. Like, which is it? Do you want him to break news or do you not want him to break news? You know what I mean?
Some interesting over-unders for tonight. Ben Mathurin, over-under, pick 6.5. So that would be right there where the Pacers are selecting. Jake, a guy you've talked a lot about, Dyson Daniels, the over-under there, 7.5.
I feel like that's going to be the under, right?
Your guy, Mark Williams. Want to take a guess?
11.5.
13.5 for Mark Williams.
Get some good money if you take the under on that one.
You think teams are afraid of taking the big guy, though?
That's the thing.
Jalen Duren from Memphis, I think, is another one that kind of falls into that group. Eddie Garrison says Dyson will be over.
Okay.
Shaedon Sharpe.
He's a wild card, man. I'm telling you.
What do you think that over-under is?
6.5.
Mark?
7.5.
8. Couple Big Ten names. Johnny Davis, 10.5. Malachi Branham from Ohio State at 13. E.J. Liddell, the Ohio State kind of stretch 4 at 22.
Ooh, I'd take the under on that.
You see him in the teens?
Yeah, I'd take the under on that.
If you want to take Jaden Ivey, number 2 overall, if you still have a hunch, the odds have gone in your favor, plus 3,200 now.
Boy,
a lot. Oklahoma City, man, you just never know. They could draft some dude from Siberia.
They've got 47 picks.
Right.
So they've got room to work with, right?
Blake Wesley from Notre Dame, the South Bend Riley product, his over-under 21.5.
I want to again thank, by the way, Forum Credit Union, also Larceny Bourbon, Connecticut, all for partaking and being part of last night and allowing for us at the Indiana Historical Society to put on the night in the fan cave. It was a lot of fun. It was great to meet everybody ahead of time. The food was fantastic, by the way. It's a very cool venue, the Historical Society.
Awesome.
If you're looking to have a wedding reception or any sort of an event, highly recommend it. It's a beautiful venue, and they did a fantastic job. The folks from Larceny, Forum Credit Union, Connecticut, Michaelis as well. Michaelis was there. All fantastic. So very much appreciated. It was indeed a lot of fun and certainly something to look forward to hopefully doing again. But I thought the highlight of the night was when Mark came out with this. Now, you were doing your Ric Flair, is that right? I was doing
the best Ric Flair impression I can do with the limited resources.
Yeah, you had your championship belt, didn't you? Your St. Elmo
championship belt, the aviator shades, did a woo to the crowd, which some returned the favor, so that was good.
Yeah, I thought the selfie we took with the crowd turned out well, Jake.
It actually was a pretty cool shot, wasn't it?
You know?
Yeah.
Posted that on my Twitter last night, also over my Instagram, KBowen1070. And yeah, it was a great turnout. It was fun. The crowd was energized, and thank you to all those people that you just laid out there, Jake. And I'd been to the Historical Society once for an event. Actually, my brother had his wedding rehearsal dinner there. Now, that was a little bit during COVID, so you just don't kind of feel the experience. But that room we were in for the meet and greet, the cocktail hour, whatever you call it, that was a cool room.
Very. And I mean, you're looking right out there on the water. It was cool,
Like, I found myself just kind of wandering around at different parts, like, oh, man, it's a really cool building.
At one point, I thought maybe you'd had too much of the Larceny Bourbon because you were wandering. We put out a silver alert for you at about 8:30.
I'm a belly flop into this canal here.
The other thing I was struggling with was I was losing service at different parts. I'm like, boy, if I get lost here, this could be dicey. I did notice
that in the little green room area. The choices were to sit and hang out with you guys and Jimmy and JMV or get on my phone, and I thought, well, there's no service. That was a challenge, right?
Well, you connect to the Wi-Fi.
Well, that's exactly what I did. Didn't have to chat with
We were doing a tour on Monday just to see the lay of the land. They're like, oh, this is the way to the stage. And I felt like I was in This Is Spinal Tap because we all got lost. Rock and roll! Hello, Cleveland! And we couldn't find anything.
Yeah, that was a do not turn right or left here or else, you're going to be lost for the next half hour. But no, really fun night last night. And thank you to everybody who came out. Everybody came up and said hi. And hope you guys enjoyed that.
I'll tell you what, I really am looking forward to the draft tonight. Again, our coverage begins at 7 o'clock here on this station. JMV is going to be at District Tab for the draft party. It is intriguing. Maybe this does steal a little of the thunder of knowing the top 3 picks ahead of time, but it doesn't. I would be totally bummed out, and it would be the world's biggest buzzkill if the Pacers were drafting like 18th and I already knew the top 3. But knowing that Indiana is going to be drafting in the top 8 and theoretically possibly 3 times in the first round by the time it's all said and done makes it it's a night of a lot of lure for me.
Yeah, I mean, drafting at number 6 overall brings just natural intrigue, but the fact that you have prominent players on your roster on the trade block, you have some unknown with that. Are you going up? Could you add another lottery pick? I think all of that makes it so exciting. And Jake, and I think these are just honest conversations the Pacers have to have and should have had as an organization. It's been 5 years without a playoff win. It's been 8 years without winning a playoff series. It is time to just kind of look in the mirror, and I thought you took the first step in that direction in deciding, all right, Sabonis and Turner, it's done. And the fact that you started it with Tyrese Halliburton, I think is critical to now all of a sudden tonight, you still, in my opinion, need to add that guy that is your true kind of leading scorer moving forward. But having Halliburton, I think, is just such a comforting feeling that you aren't starting from scratch with this rebuild. You were able to make a move back in February, and now it's continuing to add those pieces. And the cornerstone, which I think is what has to come out of 6.
It's going to be, I got a feeling your guy's going to be gone at 5.
So you would go with, your gut is saying Keegan Murray will be there at 6 and he's the pick?
I do think Murray's going to be there at 6. I think they're going to be, again, I'm just spitballing here. I'm going to say Dyson Daniels just because that's what I'm not going to be the guy to hedge, right?
So Daniels over Murray.
It's hard to think Murray falls that far, but yeah, I'll say that.
Like I said earlier, Jake, it looks like on paper, out of Jaden Ivey, Keegan Murray, and Ben Mathurin, one of those is going to be there. Because you've got the first three, Jabari Smith, Chet right. Holmgren, and Paolo Banchero in some order. And then 4, 5, 6. So out of Ivey, Murray, or Mathurin, one of those three will be there. Now,
and Daniels as well will be
Daniels will be there. Shaedon Sharpe is going to be there. I mean, you've got other avenues that you can go with. So I feel pretty good about 6. Like, I don't think too much crazy can happen there. The question is, will someone take Brogdon? And will that someone be a late lottery team? And I think that is very important to get done tonight.
I mean, what are you doing for the draft? Are you going to watch? You going to go to J&V? What are you going to do?
Brian Shelburne and I, a good friend of mine, we watched so many drafts together over the years. And he's getting together with another friend of ours up in the Fishers area. I just, last night, it was kind of a late night. I think I'll just be watching it from the couch.
I went to bed at like 12 o'clock, 12:30. Like, I was kind of like on an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, a little wired, yeah.
Yeah.
I got home, my wife was sound asleep. I'm like, I'll just talk to the wall here for 20, 30 minutes.
Look at pictures of the hall pass he picked out.
No, Mark, I did not do that. Thank you
for folks that are not familiar. So
I apologize.
Kevin's parents are in the crowd, and I felt, please, Kevin, let your parents know. Your parents came up and were very nice and introduced themselves.
They were looking forward to the most introducing themselves to you two.
But I think here was the thing. I've told you before. My cousin on my maternal side, his last name is Bowen. So when they came up and said, hey, we're the Bowens. The Bowens to me for my entire life has meant my cousin's family, and it took me aback for a second. It's crazy to say I didn't make the connection at first.
You're like,
then they said
family tree.
Yeah, and then they said it. I'm like, oh, of course. And right as I was starting to talk to them, they were doing the photo thing, and they kind of like pulled us aside, and I kind of blew your parents off, and I felt, not intentionally by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought to myself, they've got to think I'm a jerk.
Yeah, my mom texted me and was like, those other guest hosts you had, I wish they would have been in that seat permanently after meeting you.
Yeah.
How about this, Jake? Shout out to Oscar in the YouTube chat. Oscar's in Australia right now. Wants to know how long until the draft. He's a little confused with the time change. So, Oscar, it is about to be 10 o'clock Eastern.
It's 16 hours ahead in Australia, I believe.
So the draft is starting in 10 hours, Oscar. So set your alarm right now. 10 hours from now, the draft will get underway.
We're huge. You know that we're huge in Australia because of my Australian buddy Michael and Al and Marcus.
Right.
We've had Vegemite here on the show.
Mm-hmm. Don't remind me.
So Jake, you have mentioned Dyson Daniels several times. So Australian.
The draft will be Friday at...
Well, it depends where 11, in Australia Oscar lives.
That is correct. But a late Friday morning for Oscar.
10 hours, is that right?
I don't know.
It's about to be 10 a.m., so...
Yes, 10 hours from now.
Thank you, Scotty. Okay. Good reassurance on that. All right, one final time. Ben Mathurin for me. Mark Dykton, 6 overall is who?
Ben Mathurin.
And Jake?
With the 6th pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Indiana Pacers select Dyson Daniels.
There we go. We'll unpack it all tomorrow. Join us. Have fun tonight.